Hello, horrible people. Welcome to Death by Podcast, the ultimate horror movie podcast, where we go through the alphabet and pick a vintage horror movie on VHS for every letter of the alphabet. And we talk about it. I am your host, Adam. That's your other host, Kevin. Oh, Kevin. Say Kevin. It's your other host.
Yep, Kevin. That's me.
It's twice. We messed up the names on the Patreon podcast here. Welcome, episode 44. This week, I had the letter K, and I chose 1986 Killer Party, a VHS cover I had grown up with and never seen the movie of. Kevin,
I don't think the person that drew that VHS cover had ever seen it either.
Yeah, probably not. That's the 80s, man. It's the 80s.
Yeah.
And then also, all right, so that's the main show. So we're going to talk about that. But we also decided to watch the new Five Cream movie, and we're going to talk about that for What'd You Watch. So we're going to give you guys the little double whammy, little double grab, right? Is that what it's called? Is that what kids call it?
Yeah.
Little double do, I think is what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little double Jengus.
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say all that stuff.
All right. Little double. I don't know right now. But before that, Kevin's got some news. What do you got?
Yeah. So Rob Zombie news.
Son of this guy.
I'm very excited to hear what you think of this. Not just this, but there's more Monsters news.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Monsters received officially a PG rating. Rob Zombie's Monsters. What do you think?
Bullshit.
You've been nervous that it's going to be
bullshit.
Like, it was going to be.
All right. Here's what I think. Yeah, I know. I've been nervous. I think the MPAA, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how the Oscars, the Academy, or whoever the votes on that stuff. You know how they over the last few years have been labeled outdated and out of touch, and they've tried to change all that stuff. Like the people who vote on the Oscars and stuff. I believe and I've been really good at these sort of like theories of mine, like with the Boba Fett, like the Mandalorian Boba Fett theory. I believe that he showed his movie to these guys or these people, and they're so out of touch that they watched it and were like, they didn't realize what they were watching and that it's terrifying. And they're like, yeah, we don't see anything. There's no blood, there's no gore. There's no F-bombs. There's no sex. So let's give it a PG. And then you and I are going to sit down in front of this. You're going to sit down with your kids and watch it. And it's going to be terrifying, dude. It is going to be it's going to be Rob Zombie's most disgusting and terrifying movie ever. And it won't have any of that stuff in it that I just said, but for other reasons, like just the look of, because technically, like one of his music videos, right? Dragula
Sure.
Whatever. What's another one?
Living Dead Girl.
That one might be whichever one is just like, I think it's Dragula, where it's like just a bunch of freaky looking, weird costumed weirdos.
Sure. I mean, yeah.
But there's
Marilyn Manson videos are,
Marilyn Manson though is weird. But let's just talk about Rob Zombie's Dragula video, right?
Sure.
There's no blood or guts or sex or weirdness in that. It's just fucking creepy, right?
Sure. I'll give you that, yeah.
I would give that a rated R, at least a PG-13, if not a rated R. But the people who do this stuff for a living, they're going to look at that and they'll be like, all right, it's weird, but there's no R in there. So let's give it a PG. That's going to be the case, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be the creepiest, weirdest of all his movies.
Okay. I mean, as far as my prediction goes, I disagree. I think it's going to be.
What is your prediction? Go.
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be like a brightly lit, like fun, like fish out of water, like Monsters episode. I think it's going to be like they're getting evicted, and they have to figure out how to save their house. It's going to be like it's going to be like the Addams Family movie, where it's like a lot of puns and a lot of like. I think it's going to feel very much like a Monsters episode.
So would you say then, let's say it goes that way, right? First of all, with Sherry Moon Zombie in anything, it's going to be fucked up, period.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like we talked about before that, like Rob Zombie clearly likes the Monsters. And I don't think that's his style to like come in and be like, like I talk about Star Trek all the time. Why new Star Trek sucks because it's not Star Trek. Like I like what Star Trek was, and this new stuff isn't that. I feel like that him go. I don't see him making a weird and freaky like Munsters version because it's not. I think he very much. I'll bet the Munsters was his favorite show growing up, and probably the same for Sherry Moon. I think he's going to show a lot more respect and restraint than you are expecting.
You think so, huh?
Yeah.
So let's say they go that route and that's what we get. Then would you say that this is Rob Zombie selling out?
No.
No.
I think I think he's making the movie he wants to make. I don't think he's doing a lot of compromising.
Really?
I don't.
No, I don't think he's. I agree. I don't think. I'm not saying that he would compromise within the Munsters realm, but on a Rob Zombie scale, like Rob Zombie up until now only makes one kind of movie. It's a Rob Zombie movie, but now he's taking on a property that is based in like definitely PG land and like family land, and I don't think he's capable of that.
I think I'm very excited to see if he can do it, and if it's because I like Rob Zombie, but
he's a nice guy,
and I think
I fucking hate his work.
He's good at what he does, even though like I haven't loved everything he did.
Yeah.
I don't like Halloween 2. There's things I really like about the first Halloween remake, and things I don't. But like, he's really good at certain things, but a lot of that stuff doesn't belong in a Monsters movie. But I think he'll pull it off. I really do. I think it's gonna be good.
Interesting. I mean, I'm definitely
that mustache is gonna win you over eventually.
Really? It all just looks foul.
It's so crazy to me that I'm okay with the mustache. Like that I dig it. Like because that's usually I would be like, no way, what are you doing putting a mustache in it? But like it works for me for some reason.
Yeah. Hey, like I don't want to. I understand. I saw a commercial recently for Picard season 2. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Picard season 2.
And it's creepy, man. It's a creepy ass commercial where it's like Professor X is just staring at the camera, and his face has changed, man, over the years.
Yeah, he's 80. I mean, he's old. They shouldn't be doing this show.
And I'm like, that's not my Star Trek. That's not my.
No, it's not my Star Trek either. But it's awful. It's like, hey, let's.
Like, what have they done to Luke John? Like, what is he doing?
Luke John. He sucks. The Picard show sucks. I don't want to get into it. It really just.
Yeah. Did you see how I just I just came out of nowhere with Star Trek? Just how now you know how it feels. All right. So back to the Munsters. Right. Yeah. No, I just feel like this is going to be that. This is going to be like just like you go in for the Munsters, or people who don't even know who the Munsters are going to definitely see a PG trailer or advertisement.
Do you think it's like he's like pulling something? Like
I think he's pulling the wool over the MPAA's eyes, man. And I think that you're going to get a movie that you would not want to show. So. You would not want to show. What's PG? What's the age range? Is it 12 to 12?
No.
12-year-olds?
Yeah. I mean, technically it's 12 and
under.
Yeah. I mean, it's parental guidance suggested. Okay. So anything that's like,
so Jaws.
I mean, Jaws is PG, but it's 70s PG,
Yeah, it's dumb. So I think that like this is going to be a movie that you would not want your 6-year-old or your 6-year-old to see, or whatever, your 8-year-old.
Okay.
Under 6 years old, they don't know what they're looking at. Over, 9, 10-ish, we all watch Nightmare on Elm Street by that point, but like that weird age where it's like, oh man, they're going to have nightmares. This is going to be nightmare fuel. I guarantee. Probably for me too.
Okay.
Yeah. Rob Zombie, you son of a bitch. What else you got?
As far as news goes, that's really it. There's not too much got announced. Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have two features.
Yeah, we got plenty to cover.
To cover. Should we talk about our first feature?
Yeah.
Our first Nev Campbell vehicle. I hate when people say vehicle and feature when they're talking about movies. So if I
It should. Yeah.
if we
I
if
don't
I
mind
just
feature.
turned off people, please come back and listen.
What about picture?
picture? I like picture. I like that.
When they say,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, who says that? Siskel says that, doesn't he? Or who
he
says
does.
picture?
Yeah, he says a lot. Bieber says it too. Rick Moranis says it. I've been watching a lot of. Well, we'll get into it.
A
But,
lot of what?
well, like just like
Rick
old school.
Moranis.
It's like a 70s time. It's like a
Okay.
70s, 80s term. People
Let's see
used
this
to say a lot more.
Did you see this picture? So we watched this picture. It's called Five Cream, and it is the 5th movie in the Scream franchise. Okay,
Sure.
and
But here's my thing with the Five Cream.
Five Cream. Tell me
They
about it.
didn't call it Five Cream, which
The poster
It's
says
shocking.
Five Cream.
it does not.
I can pull it up right now.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's not an official poster. I'm sure they avoided it. Now the last movie was Scream with a 4 for the A, whatever that is.
Screeform games.
Yeah,
Screeform.
I think they knew going in like people are going to call this Five Cream, so they did something even more annoying, which is they just called it Scream, which is
What?
really irritating.
That
but
makes I know that makes no sense.
nothing drives me more crazy than when titles don't match. Like let me ask, does that bother you as much as me?
Obviously not. No, you get bothered by the wrong size coffee at Taco Bell.
Well,
breakfast,
I mean,
so,
okay, I
or
can
no
never
size.
decide.
Sorry, no size coffee. So
I can never decide which is the worst one. Like which is the worst like series of titles.
Yeah.
You know, first I thought it was Rambo because
I've
Rambo-
recently I'm into that recently.
so Rambo, the original Rambo is just called First Blood.
Right.
Then it's called Rambo: First Blood Part 2.
Right.
Then it's Rambo 3. Then the 4th one's just called Rambo.
So far, so good.
Then the 5th one is called Rambo: Last Blood.
I see.
Whatever.
I see a good evolution there, though.
It's fine. It's whatever. It's because they wrap it up at the end, they bring it back. So whatever. It used
Look
to
at what they
used
did to
normally-
Rocky. That's dumb.
Oh, Rocky. That was that's I think the worst. I was
Yeah.
going to say I think that's the worst because they nailed it for so long.
right.
They did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then did Rocky Balboa. What are you doing, man? That drives me up the wall. I have all of them on my shelf, and
Yeah.
I'm like, and it just irritates me to look at.
Like, where does it go? Where do you put it on the shelf?
You put it after 5 because that's
Okay.
where it is
All right.
in order. But like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Like,
don't know.
I understand. Like, the studio was probably like, you can't. And you know what? The original title for Rambo 4, which was just called Rambo, was going to be called John Rambo, which would have been. I guess
That would have
Rambo.
made sense in accordance to the Rocky stuff. You know,
Yeah,
Rocky Balboa, John Rambo.
Yeah, but fine, and that would have been but Rocky Balboa. Name it Rocky Balboa. It's a Rocky 6. It's just like what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't go Rocky 6, man. That's so stupid.
I mean, why? Yeah,
Man.
you killed it forever, and nobody does it. Nobody
Right.
keeps the numbers the whole way. I don't think anybody ever has
well, all right.
that I can think of.
Star Wars Episode 9. They're
Yeah,
all
but
episodes.
yeah, I guess, but they're not like Star Wars 1, Star Wars 2, Star Wars. I'm talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
They all eventually bail on the numbers, probably because, I mean, the thinking is,
Well, they explain it in this movie, and it makes me want to barf.
well, let's get into this movie because
So this is the 5th Scream movie, and instead of calling, they were all 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
instead
remember
of-
I gave him a lot of credit for 4,
right.
and that like they called it Scream 4, which I was like, that's all right, cool. I mean, because that one was a legacy sequel. It was fucking 15, 16 years after the last one.
When
you know.
see, I don't remember Scream 4. That was Wes Craven's last movie, wasn't it?
I think it was. I was just talking about this with Lynn. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was too. And so this one, what they're trying to do is say, the monologue that the black chick with the Jerry curl
Yeah.
in this movie, she goes into, first of all, this movie, that scene is what this movie is. This movie is
Grinchy.
yeah, it is. Well, it is in a way. No, it's the word I'm looking for is weak, I guess. I think it's weak.
Yeah.
Unoriginal.
Here's the thing.
It's saying we are going to be original by being unoriginal, by being original and then unoriginal again.
Yeah,
It's like it's so far up its own ass
yeah,
that it's just all it is Scream One watching itself in a
and
way.
like and yeah, it got real annoying. And like the thing is, when it wasn't being a Scream movie, like the thing about Scream One, I don't know, I don't know, what's your relationship with this series? Like,
Scream One is in my top 10 horror movies of all time.
I saw Scream One in the theater about
it's
10
flawless.
times. I was
too.
so into it at the time.
And every time I went with my friends, like I was working at a restaurant at the time, and when the shift was over, we all look at each other. We were all thinking the same thing. We're like, "You want to go screaming?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go screaming." And we go see it. So it's a flawless movie. I think.
I love
you may or may not like it, but for what it is, it's flawless.
No, yeah, but the thing was, it was super refreshing at the time. It was like a commentary on, like, kind of because horror movies had kind of dried up, like
there's a point you just said that I don't want to lose. It's a commentary. Scream One is a commentary on the generation of that time. Every generation has the previous generation doesn't like the next generation. We all get that.
Yeah.
We all look at them as whatever gripes we have. But the Scream One is a commentary on that generation, and that generation, the sort of 90s, whatever they are,
sure.
The kids who were in high school in the 90s, was still like a cool generation. This movie, these high school kids, quote unquote, they're fucking worthless.
Well, here,
they're
okay,
idiots.
to be fair,
they think that they're precious and cool and witty, and it all shows.
And while I agree with you. To be fair, to them,
let's be fair.
That is, I mean, to say like, oh no, that's like the Gen X guys being like, well, the Gen X characters were cool in this, and like now, I don't want to be the. It's because they were like they were our age or a couple years older, and yeah, like this is cool. And now we're the old men, and like, yeah, the high school shit is like the high school kids in this. You're like, you suck. This is terrible, and they are. They're terrible. But that's the thing. Like, it's not. I don't think that's the problem with this movie. Is that like, I mean, it is a problem with the movie that the kids are bad. But you're right. It's way up its own ass. It thinks it's a lot. And here's the thing that really bugs me about this kind of shit, because this is the thing. Like, this is exactly what a Scream movie is gonna be. You know what I mean? It's gonna be commenting in 2022. It's gonna be commenting on these legacy sequels and all this other crap. And it's just pointing it out and doing it and still doing it doesn't make it clever. It makes it annoying.
You know what I mean? It makes it rehash.
Well, but I mean, just pointing out, like, it reminds me of like, you remember Wayne's World, where they're doing the joke about the corporate sponsorship.
I don't know.
And like, it's a joke where they're like, man, I can't, they're talking about how they're never going to sell out and how like all, how the whatever. And while they're doing it, they're like eating Doritos and like,
yeah.
And like, then
okay,
like they cut over and like Garth's wearing a bunch of Nike, and it's a joke on like whatever. Right. But like, people have been doing that exact same joke for like 30 years now, and it's not funny anymore. Like, they did it on, I think it was Parks and Rec or The Office or something, and it was just like, they're making a joke about, like, just because you bring up the giant billboard in the back that says like, like Budweiser doesn't, right. It doesn't make you clever. It just makes it makes it that much more clear.
It's lazy.
It's gross. It's right. Like, oh, you're aware of, so you're selling out, and you think it's like cute.
You think you're selling out, and you think it's cute and okay because you're saying that you are,
because you're saying, hey, look,
so what that is, and what Scream didn't invent it, but they did it the best. The first Scream, which
the first Scream does it
and great. But what they did is refined to a perfect T the meta factor. Scream 1 is meta but
it's just meta enough, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where it's not
but they
annoying.
also did it on the level that they did it, and the way that they did it first, like with what's his name explaining the rules and all that stuff.
Jamie Kennedy
explaining the rules when that scene happened. Okay, so let's look at that, because this movie doesn't realize how shitty they like their references are, I guess, or their parallels, I guess. So you look at Jamie Kennedy's rule scene and you look at the girls' rule scene in this, right? Not only is Jamie Kennedy's character, do you remember his name in that?
Yeah, it's Randy.
Randy,
He was like
okay.
my favorite.
Okay, so
at the
not
time,
only-
yeah, he was
yeah.
huge for me.
Not only is Randy this girl's uncle in
Yeah.
this movie, but she's just regurgitating his monologue, but doing it's like she's putting it through the lens of the new naysayer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
because all the things that all the movies, and you know, when she goes into the sequel, how the sequels have to bring in the old fans by feeling familiar, but also create new fans by giving you a new cast, right? And the whole time she's saying this, I'm thinking Star Wars, and she doesn't name Star Wars until the very end, and then she changes subject. And for me, there's no better example of the gripey naysayer than the Star Wars audience, because, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a huge Star Wars fan,
Sure.
but because
They are the
Star-
go-to. They're the go-to example.
they are the
clearly.
go-to example, but they are because that franchise is only 9 movies, that Skywalker saga, but it spans over 40 years. So you're grabbing the last 3 generations of people, or almost 4 generations of people. And so that's why it's the perfect target / example of what she's saying. And yet but the problem is that she's saying it the way that this movie and the writers and creators and directors are presenting her character saying this, is that the younger audience is supposed to look at her and go, oh, she's right, she's smart, she's this and she's that. She's a fucking idiot, man. I wanted her to be the first
I didn't like
victim
any of the
in
new
this movie,
characters.
so that I didn't have to listen to that character's bullshit, because and I'm trying not to get like venomous in my distaste for her character. I enjoyed the movie itself on a whole.
I did too.
But
After I watched
there were
it, like,
characters that were
during
like,
the movie, I had a hard time with it.
yeah. And her character is just so written terribly. Nothing against the actress or anything like that. The character is so bogus because they present her character as this sort of like Tyrese, Greek mythology character.
She's like smarter than everybody. And
Exactly,
like,
but she's not. And
No,
it's
I
the way,
agree.
and it's the way she presents the information that is the wrong part of it, is the bad part of it. It's like, shut up, you precious idiot, get over yourself. And everything that you're saying, you wouldn't be saying it if people who came before you didn't do it 1,000 times better and had said it already. But because you're dealing with a new generation and a new audience, it sounds new and clever to them. It's so tired now at this point. It's so tired.
It's so, I like that. I said it about 3 times where I'm like, we're still doing this. Like you're still making this same movie. Like, I mean, it's one thing with like, and I'm not saying, and with like Nightmare on Elm Street or Jaws, whatever, not Jaws, but like Friday the 13th, those work. Like those, yeah, I'm going to see the same movie over and over again. Like that's fine. With this though, like you're still making this point. It's been and it's annoying. And with this, it's just, and the more they do it.
Well, the Scream franchise became so successful after the first movie because it cornered the market on cleverness, and it earned it. That first movie earned it.
Yeah. And it spawned a million clones, you know,
and yeah, and everything from the style, aesthetic, to the posters, to the writing style, to even just the Josh Williamson, the actual writer, going off and writing other Kevin Williamson and writing other clones, you know, like it's almost like meta to the nth degree in so many ways. I've never, you know, we've all been like, we've all seen movies or sequels of movies and been like, I've seen this before. This is the very first time in my life where I've watched a sequel and been like, I really feel like I've seen this before. Like it made me want to go back and watch the rest, like maybe like three and 4 to make sure that I literally haven't seen the exact same scenes and stuff. It's that it's
And-
that
and-
unoriginal, and it's
Well, and
that-
that's the thing. And that's what the thing. If you're gonna be an unoriginal like fucking rehash, like at least Force Awakens, which I like, didn't I don't know, they didn't nail it, like, you know, they didn't comment on how unoriginal they were being. You know what I mean? They didn't talk about it in the movie.
sure,
You know, like there's a scene, there's a, like, you know,
but it's not
when
that
they
kind of
when
movie.
they finally realize they're in the original house from the first movie. What's her name? Nev Campbell. She's like, you know, fighting the killer in the movie, and she says, "Are you serious? The same fucking house? Like, are you that derivative?"
Yeah.
And it's like, just because you point that out,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't
No,
make you
totally.
not derivative, man. Because
Exactly.
you say, "Hey, isn't this stupid that we're doing that?" Like,
Right.
it's so, it's not clever. You do. I feel like it's like, oh, if I point it out that I know,
Right.
then it gives me a pass. It's like,
Right.
no, it's even worse.
Exactly.
Then, you know what I mean? Then you're not just a hack.
But there have been movies that have done that in the past, and it did work. The problem is that this movie is like, there's a lot of and I know you don't like Shyamalan, but there's a lot of parallels to I guess the guts of this movie, no pun intended, and the guts of what a Shyamalan movie, like a good Shyamalan movie, is, where the awareness, the self-awareness of the movie, you know. But at the
Mhm.
same time, remember, I don't know, I brought up the failure of the movie Glass, where Shyamalan had the thought that by using YouTube as
Oh yeah,
the
yeah, you've talked about
medium
this.
of exposure for an event that was going on in his movie, he was so out of touch with what YouTube has become. And this movie does that.
Yeah,
same
it feels
exact
like
thing.
that too.
When they go, like your example of Nev Campbell saying that's so derivative. Well, if it was like the first time we had seen that, we'd be like, oh, that's so clever and funny. But at this point, not
Yeah,
only have other
A million
movies
movies
done
have
it better,
done
but Scream has done that already. They did it in the second movie with Timothy Oliphant. Isn't that the second movie?
No, well, it is, but they're not back at the original house.
No, I'm saying they did like Timothy. I remember Timothy Oliphant having lines where he goes, blah, blah, blah happened in the first. And aren't we clever, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but aren't we clever for being aware, self-aware within our movie that we're making? It's like the Scream franchise already did the thing that you're claiming at this point now in the new movie.
Yeah,
is
and it's
clever.
the,
It's like,
it's
what?
it's the thing that, like,
It's
it's the dice and
daft.
fucking in Star Wars, where it's like, you know, like, look, he gave her the dice, and like, you know, if they didn't mention this is the house from the original movie, I wouldn't have noticed that. Would you? Like, there's nothing. Once they said it, I was like, oh yeah, that is the hallway from the end. But like, it wasn't. It reminds me of the dice from Star Wars in the Millennium Falcon, where they all
The
of a sudden
concept of the dice.
they have all this
Sure.
weight and like, look, it's the dice, and I'm like, when? What dice? I've never seen dice in the Millennium Falcon. What are you talking about? You
No,
know,
I know. I see your point. I like the dice, but I see your point. Um, But
to me, they symbolize. Well, we'll get into that.
no,
but,
it's a hey guys, look at it. You know, I mean, I don't want to change this topic to badness.
I'll tell you what, though, I didn't
hate.
hate the movie when the movie wasn't being a Scream movie. I dug it. Like, I thought the kills were good. I thought all the like suspenseful, like, you know,
We'll get into the things we liked. I still want to talk shit about this movie.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
So
There's more I didn't like.
the characters also, like the new characters were just
yeah.
so vapid. They were
so vague and shitty. Like,
overused. This guy, you know, the boyfriend, the killer.
yeah,
He's from
the guy from The Boys.
The Boys.
That's Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son.
Shut up.
Yep.
Do you know his name?
Is Jack
Is it-
Quaid.
His name is Jack Quaid.
Yeah, that's a hell of that's a kick-ass name.
That's a kick-ass name.
Yeah.
Too bad he sucks. I don't really enjoy him in The Boys either. I like The Boys, the show, but I don't really enjoy him. Dude, when he's at the end, when they reveal that he's the killer.
Spoilers for Scream 5.
Too late. I don't give a fuck. And I can't stand when people say they say the thing and then they go, oh, spoiler. Shut up. You already spoiled it. So anyway, like I'm not telling you to shut up. But when Jack Quaid reveals that he's Jack Quaid,
yeah,
what's Schwarzenegger's name in Total
Doug
Recall?
Quaid.
Doug?
It's
Okay.
Doug Quaid, yeah.
Quaid.
Equally badass name.
Yeah. Quaid. I guess Quaid is just, unless you're
I
Randy
mean,
Quaid.
Dennis Quaid isn't really badass sounding,
Yeah, I
but
guess you're right. When he reveals that he's the killer, and he's doing his, not Loomis, not Billy Loomis, but the other killer in the first movie. What's his name?
Stu is the
Stu.
guy. It's Matthew
When
Lillard.
Matthew Lillard, when he's doing his best charismatic, which is really shitty. It's like, man, that's the thing about the first movie, that those two killers, watching that scene, watching the end of the movie where it's just Skeet Ulrich and you just said his name,
Matthew Lillard.
Matthew Lillard. When it's those two guys going back and forth, it's awesome. It's still awesome.
There were less of them. There were less characters, which you meant you spent more time with the core cast. There were but I'm saying
performance.
Oh yeah, but what I mean is like you got to know the characters a lot better, and yeah, the performance, way better. But I mean, and the chemistry between them, like you were like, oh, I get it. They felt like they knew each other.
The point that I'm making is this Jack Quaid guy is up there doing these weird googly eyes and blah 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 and bullshit. Like his performance sucks, and he's trying to be as charismatic and interesting a killer as those first two guys were, and he can't suck their dicks. It's like he's nothing compared to that. And if you're going to make a sequel and you can't up the game, what are you doing? It's just sad. And it's like, man, you're falling under the bar, and
I didn't mind
dragging the franchise with you.
I didn't mind him, but like the thing, I tell you what, as soon as he was on screen for 5 seconds and Lindsay's like, he's a killer.
Absolutely.
It's him. And she said, she's like, anybody could tell that. I'm like, really? I'm like, I thought
they told us he was.
Well, yeah, but I thought they were making it so obvious. There were like at the point where he's at the hospital and the killer just punches him. I was like, this is too obvious. Like he kills like everyone else in the hospital except this guy. He punches him, and I'm like, well, that's clearly like supposed to make us think that he must be the killer. But
this
then
goes
he
back to what we were saying.
It's like
this goes back to what we were saying at the beginning about the movie being. To me, it was obvious. Like the second they showed this dude's face, I didn't know his name was Jack Quaid or who he was, but I knew he was from The Boys. And I was like, oh, okay, there's one of your killers. That's this movie trying to be meta and not being meta, trying to be self-aware and saying, look, we're self-aware, but we're not self-aware, but we're self-aware. It doesn't work anymore. And for them to not realize that as movie makers is really pathetic. And the girl,
the
girl killer, his
partner, the girl killer.
She right off the bat, I knew she was the killer too, because she's the one who says, first of all, she's creepy, and I've seen her in something else, and she's creepy. She creeps me the fuck out, like the actress does. She was the one, and when the friends are talking about the sister being attacked in the opening scene, and she's in the hospital, and the black chick goes, oh, she kind of makes light of it and is like, well, maybe she'll still die. She didn't die, but maybe she will. This chick goes, dude, shut up. That's terrible to say. And right there, she showed us her cards, because she's like overly and then there's another scene where she's overly protective of her.
See, for me,
there's nothing creative in this movie.
There were just too many characters. Like, I understand you need cannon fodder, but like find it in other places. Like, remember in the original they killed the Fonz. They killed, Henry Winkler.
Yeah, Henry Winkler.
He killed other people besides the friend group. You don't need 10 of these fucking kids, because all that does is just spread it out. Like, do we need all that does is water down how much time you get to spend with them, and makes it.
I didn't want to
less,
spend time
like the chick that became the killer. Every time she popped up, I was like, oh yeah, she's in this movie too. Like every time she came in, I was like, oh yeah, which one is she again? Because there's like 7 of them. There's way too many.
Well, and
none of them have any distinguishing characteristics besides like race. Like that's it. There's the black guy.
A really good point.
There's the black guy who's, I guess he's a jock because he wears a leather like a Letterman jacket. But there's the black guy, the black girl, the white girl, the main girl, and the main girl's sister. Like, that's how you call all these people. Like the original Scream, I knew everybody's name. I was like, you know what I mean? Like when they said, oh, it's Billy, like if they would have said like, oh, it's whatever this chick's name was, I would have no fucking idea who they were talking about.
Yeah.
Like if they were to just say it instead of show who it was, I'd be like, which one of the girls is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who were we just talking about before that?
Before the killer,
Yeah.
Jack Quaid.
No, somebody else. I was gonna look him up. Anyway.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
This was kind of wild. The main chick who I hated that character. I hated
Really?
like new Nev Campbell character. I really didn't like her. She has like these like visions. She's Billy Loomis's illegitimate daughter. She's these visions of like him talking to her, and he's in like, and the whole time I'm watching the movie, I'm like, man, like, why wouldn't they just get, because they have a guy like he's dressed like Skeet Ulrich, and he's got the Skeet Ulrich haircut from the first movie. He's covered in blood like the end of the first movie.
It is Skeet Ulrich.
I know, but I didn't know that because I was like, the whole time I'm like, man, they just got a Skeet Ulrich look alike. Like he probably should have gotten Skeet Ulrich. He's just older and fatter now.
He's just
like
de-aged. He's de-aged.
Did they even de-age him?
Yeah.
Because it didn't look.
You can tell they smoothed out his face.
I didn't even recognize him. I thought it was a different actor.
That's weird.
Until I was watching the end credits and it said, and it reminded me of Boondock Saints. One of the two Boondock Saints. That's Sean Patrick Flannery, the one that isn't Norman Reedus.
Spoilers for Boondock Saints. I'm kidding.
When they did Boondock Saints 2 years later, Sean Patrick Flannery. When I saw the posters and the trailer, I was like, that sucks. They recast Sean Patrick Flannery. They could have gotten. Where is he? And then like I'm like, oh, that is. Oh, he just got fat and a bunch of plastic surgery. Okay, never mind.
That's weird.
He looks like a completely different person.
It's Powder, right? Powder.
It is Powder. Yeah.
Sean Patrick Flannery is in. He was in one of the later episodes of Dexter. Did you watch Dexter?
I couldn't get through the first season. I hated it.
Dude, that's too bad. It's a great show. You're wrong. But
my dad was just telling me this an hour ago
about Sean Patrick Flannery.
No, just about Dexter. How he likes Dexter.
He's in one of the final episodes, which the show started around 2008. So that means it was probably 2016 or 15 when it ended. And he definitely he aged, but he doesn't look as weird as he does in Boondock Saints 2.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm
I know
not just being mean,
but you remember him a certain way and whatever. It's when you get a sequel. So same thing with Billy Loomis in this, like we remembered him a certain way, and he hasn't been in any of these other movies.
He hasn't been in anything. I haven't seen Skeet Ulrich.
No, he's had
30 years or 25 years.
He's had a career. He did like a show.
Yeah, but like I had
a show, man.
I'm sure he's doing very well. I'm just saying that I haven't personally seen him.
He was actually my favorite part of this movie.
See, I hated that. Like if you'd have told me going in, like in fact, if you'd have told me going in that the main character like has visions of like and talks to him, like my dad said that about Dexter, like about the sister, because I was like, he's like, yeah, I really like sister, but they kill her, and then in the new season,
no, stop right there. I haven't seen the new season.
Okay, well. Anyway,
it's the
what about spoilers, man?
No, I caught you before you did it. The thing with the Billy Loomis thing that doesn't make sense though, which is like, what the fuck who's getting paid millions of dollars to write this? She is his illegitimate daughter. He was killed before she was born. She doesn't know what the fuck he looks like other than maybe pictures and stuff like that. But for her to form like a visual working live image in her brain that she sees, it just doesn't make sense, man. It's stuff like that is like, I get it, whatever, but I liked.
But it's also not, this isn't the franchise where that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but new stuff is fine.
Yeah, like, but it felt out of place. Like that, you know what I mean? She's seeing hallucinations and like, it just felt weird to me. I didn't like, and it didn't go anywhere either. Well, like she didn't get over it.
No, but that's the thing. As soon as this movie ended, I asked my brother, I was like, so do you think that when they made this movie, when they set out to make this movie, that they were like, this is going to be the beginning of the next group of Scream movies with the new cast and all that stuff? I don't know. Like, do you think that they set out to spawn a new?
I think that's always kind of the intention.
Sure.
You would think they would make the core better if they were going to do that, but like when they did Scream 4, they came right out and said that we're looking to do a new trilogy.
Oh, really?
And then Scream 4, I don't think it bombed, but it didn't do enough to be like, let's greenlight 2 more movies with this cast.
Was there a new Nev Campbell character in Scream 4?
Yeah, Scream 4 this is essentially a remake of Scream 4.
You know,
Like,
I bet that's what I was thinking of when I said I feel like I've literally seen this movie before.
yeah, I mean,
I'm wondering if it's
they
Scream
do
4.
all the comment that, like, I mean, it's just an updated version.
Yeah.
Like Scream 4 came out, I think, in 2011,
Okay.
and it's just an
Wow, that long
updated
ago?
version of. But it is. It's like, oh, everything except that one. They're talking about remakes.
Yeah.
And in this one, they're talking about like these like legacy sequels.
Right.
You know, like it's really
Yeah.
not that
Okay.
much more. And I don't remember anything about that last one except that Macaulay Culkin's little brother's in it,
Okay.
and not the one from Succession,
Right.
the younger one. That's all I
Regardless-
really remember. And I
yeah.
think Julia Roberts' niece is in it too.
I don't even know what the fuck you just said. But like Julie, who gives a shit about Julia Roberts' niece? Come on.
She was hot. Like she's a hot ticket for a while. She was
Hot
in a lot
ticket?
of stuff.
In that picture, maybe. But you know, and that's the other thing. This is the last. Let's do one last gripe. Here's my last gripe. I'll give you one, and then let's move on to things we liked about it. All right,
Okay.
is that fair?
Yeah.
Because it's a pile of shit, basically. But when they bring up, and other places have done this, the gripe about a legacy sequel, there is no other way to continue any franchise with the same story and theme and all that stuff without passing the torch. You can either pass the torch or you can reboot. That's it. Okay, so like
I mean, that's not necessarily true. Like that's the thing.
for
Like,
it to live on, you know, in like, and I was going to go back to Star Wars. So
well,
Star Wars-
let's talk about like Creed. I guess Star Wars did. hand
I
the
haven't
torch
seen enough Creed to. I don't
off. Well,
know.
but Rocky didn't hand the torch off until Creed came out. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't any intention to do that. You know, like they were like, we're sticking with this character for 6 movies. Like, you know, and even Creed isn't. I mean, it's called Creed for a reason. Like Rocky's definitely, you know,
That's not boxing movies are boxing movies. With Star Wars though, it's different because Star Wars is a certain thing. Okay.
Sure.
If you change what Star Wars is at its core, it just becomes another sci-fi movie. So in order to keep that aesthetic and that what Star Wars is, you have to pass the torch. If you just reboot, then a guarantee, if they had just rebooted Star Wars, it wouldn't be Star Wars anymore. So,
oh yeah.
you know, because they would get their hands on it, and everybody would want it to be their own thing instead of what Star Wars is, which was my initial gripe with Rian Johnson's movie, even though I love that movie now, The Last Jedi, was that I felt like he made a Rian Johnson movie before he made a Star Wars movie. And with something like Star Wars that you want to continue to be Star Wars, you put yourself aside, you make a Star Wars movie with your flavor. And I feel like he didn't do that for the longest time. And so if you just reboot something like Star Wars, you get something completely different. With something like Scream, you can reboot it because even though the first movie has a specific aesthetic and look and feel, it was kind of lost through the sequels. Okay.
Yeah. They had diminishing returns for sure.
So you can just flat out reboot it, which is what they should have done with this, because now with Scream 5 and you bring in the legacy characters, if that's what you want to, if that's what you need to call them because your brain is so simple. To me, they're just the characters of Scream. It's just Dewey. It's just whoever. And they're making Scream 5. So what you've done now is you've beat this horse to death. And whereas if you reboot it, you could bring new flavor to it. You could bring a new cast to it. You don't even have to use the names Dewey and whoever else they are.
No, make a brand new movie. All you really need is Ghostface to be calling.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's
and
it.
But they're
like,
so ballless to do that.
I mean, frankly, they remakes. I have no interest in. Like, I'm into these characters enough that, like, honestly, like, if they said they were doing a new Scream and Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, just especially Dave Arquette. If Dave Arquette was the only one that came back, because I like those characters enough.
I do too,
I'm like,
and I would see it as well.
But that was my whole thing with them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see this because they're going to kill Dewey. There's
But
no
my
way he's
point
making out of it.
is, right. But my point is that either have the sack to just make the next Scream movie with the original cast and they're older, and not worry about, oh, but we need to bring in the new generation of fans with this bullshit.
That's what I wish more
either
movies
would do that,
Yeah.
or have the sack to just reboot something entirely fresh. But there's none of that going on in Hollywood, which is the only point I agreed with in this movie, was that Hollywood's out of ideas, and that's why they're continuously going back to the 80s and the 90s now. It's like
they're out of ideas. Pussy. That's
they're
it. Like,
lazy. They're
nobody wants to
lazy.
take any risks.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's rare. It's just, and that, yeah,
All right.
that was the other thing. I mean,
You get one final gripe. What's your final gripe? Is this it? That's the other thing?
No, I had a big one and I forgot what it was. It was just, oh, you know what? It was annoying is like, all right, like these movies, and we watch a lot of stupid movies, you know, and
They don't
I
try to be
understand
anything
you have to
more
you have to
than that.
suspend disbelief, man.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, this one just, he really had me bending over backwards to be like, really?
Yeah.
No one's calling the cops, and
Yeah.
it, and that's the other thing. This is the second movie in a row that they like why I don't understand this logic. And they did this in the last one. I think they do it in the third one, where like, hey, there's a serial killer running around my hometown. that happened 20 years ago. Like, what logic is it to like, hey, let's track down the victims of the survivors of the first time and ask for like, hey, what should we do? Like, what it's not a shark. It's a guy. It's a random guy. What? Why would Dewey have any fucking idea what this guy was going to do? You know what I mean? Like, why would you go to this guy, like, and or like Nev Campbell or any of them? Why? And what special skill do they have?
Yeah.
Like when they come in and they're like, it's a trap. Like, why aren't you calling the police, man?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's a shitload of teenagers in this house.
But that's
like,
that's what these, I don't know about the,
I mean,
like,
they're not Ghostbusters. They're not like old veterans of like, oh, we used to kick Ghostface ass all the time. It's a different guy. It's a different guy. It's
well,
one thing. If it was Jason and it was like, hey, we got to get Tommy Jarvis, that at least makes a little sense. You know what I mean? But like,
see, I think it makes more sense in this because something like Jason, it's an animal basically going around. Jason is Jaws, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's like kind of unpredictable. But with this, I look at them bringing in Dewey and whoever else as almost like profilers, so that you can kind of get a sense of the patterns or the thought behind.
Yeah, but hypothetically,
only because they've been through it so many times.
Yeah, but there's police detectives that could do what Dewey does.
But that's the problem, is that these movies, at least this one, shows all of the cops as being doofuses. You know?
Yeah, like there's no
they show the cops in this movie are doofuses. So
are there even cops in this movie?
Remember, there's the one Asian guy, there's the black guy that they specifically point out and go, who's guarding my sister? And they go,
I thought they were going to be like character. I was expecting them to die or come back at some point, but that's it for them.
But they point out intentionally that the cops
all the cops are idiots.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your boy in The Simpsons?
Wiggum.
Yeah, Wiggum.
They're all Wiggums.
So they're all Wiggums, right?
I don't think Wiggum's that stupid.
Yeah, and that was like stuff like everyone.
Like why would like Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox go to that house and be like, we're gonna, like, they're not anymore. All they're going in there to do is like kill the guy that's running around. Like, they're no more qualified to do that than anybody else. Especially once they know who the killer is
at that point,
and they know immediately. They walk in and the girl comes out and tells them
at that point. Yeah, she takes a shot.
Yeah, but then they don't figure it out. It would be cool if like even they're in there and like Nev Campbell's like, it's your boyfriend, like figured it out. Like if she did a little
but Dewey
investigating.
Well, Dewey did that by profiling.
Yeah, but he
immediately says it's your boy. Like, who is your?
He says it's usually.
I like that scene.
It was. Yeah, I love that scene when he was like. But I wish he didn't call them back. But I understand like if that doesn't track with his character. But I did like, he's like, dude, I've been stabbed 9 times. I've done this. I'm not doing this. And then I like that he calls Sid and Sid's like, yeah, I have no intention. Why would I ever go back there? I'm not doing that. And then like,
but I think that scene with Dewey establishes why he's in there in the first place.
Yeah,
because he's profiling the killer. And he immediately points out it's your boyfriend. Basically, he points that out.
He says it's always the
reason, but he gives reasons why. And he starts. He's like asking the questions. He's being a cop. He's being a detective.
Yeah, Dewey's the best part of this movie for me.
Absolutely.
Easily.
Absolutely.
I have no interest in Scream 6.
Right, but as far as what the movie does with the characters, I feel like that was a smart move. Like, that was good writing there to not just to be like, hey, Dewey's back, but to show him doing stuff, like sitting down, thinking and saying before.
Like I don't even know why Courtney Cox is in this movie, except to give it like, I guess it fleshes out like
put
what
Courtney
happened.
Cox in.
I mean, I'm glad
so you can see her new face.
She's yeah, but like,
Sorry,
or Nev
her
Campbell
new,
for that.
new,
Like
new face.
this would have been better with just Dewey, if you ask me. Like
Nah,
we don't need them.
I loved that Nev Campbell was in it.
Well, or I would have
her.
I would have liked it just the cameo, like where she's, hey, I'm not coming back. Cool.
I kind of
That's all
thought
we
that
need.
that's what we were gonna get, but I'm glad she came back.
No, you know what? As soon as they killed Dewey, that's the other thing. I hate that I was like able to fucking pretty much predict this movie scene for scene. As soon as any scene started, it was like, this is how this is gonna go. But as soon as they killed Dewey, I remember I got up to the bathroom, and Lind was like, you want to pause it? And I'm like, no, they're gonna show Courtney Cox is gonna be sad, and then Nev Campbell's gonna show up. That I came back from the bathroom, and she's like, yeah, you were right. That was exactly what just happened while you were in the bathroom.
Sure.
Like
it's
it was
a simple-minded movie.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm some like genius. Like,
well, I think you are.
I'm saying that. You're saying that I'm a genius.
I'm not going to clarify. I just want you to sit with that.
It was just like, whatever. And the thing is, to me, that this whole movie feels like not a first draft, but like, if you ask me, what do you think this movie is going to be? It's exactly this. This is, you know what I mean? They don't. There's nothing here that like what would be awesome to do with Scream at this point? Like, do a new Nightmare scenario. Make it really Nev Campbell and then you can really comment on like some. You want to get at like, you want to make some cool commentary on like the state of movies. Have the actors be like, yeah, they'd never cast me in the new movie unless it's one of these stupid, like, then you could like really make some like points.
Well, and with that you go, yeah, okay, so Nev Campbell has a psychotic fan who puts on the ghost face and becomes, yeah, I mean, that's the only way that they could do something. To us, that's the obvious next step.
But you could do so much cool. You could talk about why that David Arquette's not in movies anymore because he's a lunatic and wanted to wrestle. Like, like you could do cool stuff with this, and it's just they don't. They're like, let's do the easiest, most obvious thing
and say that it's not.
Yeah, and pretend it's clever.
All right. So, do you have anything else that you liked about the movie?
No, David Arquette. I mean, like I said,
he was awesome.
I thought the scenes were, I thought the violence was cool, and I enjoyed the movie when it wasn't being annoying.
I think all of the kills were great, and I think that Ghostface, the way he was presented, was awesome. I always talk about like the new Jonas Suetamo, who is the new actor who plays Chewbacca. Sorry, going back to Star Wars, but it's the same concept, body language. Whoever whatever stunt person is inside Ghostface brought something fresh to it. That scene where like in the hospital where I don't know if he comes out of a door or he raises up, but he's standing there, and there's a really popular screenshot of that's been going that was going around before the movie came out. But that to see that finally in the movie, like, it looked great. He looked great. The kills to me were almost like whoever came up with the gags was a Tom Savini fan. The one with the kid in the throat where you see the knife go in real slow, and like that's a straight up Tom Savini gag from like Friday the 13th, old school.
Yeah.
Dewey's death, man, one in the front, one in the back, and then lifting up.
Yeah,
which is
it was
a 120-pound girl would have struggled with that because she admits she was the one that killed him. But still, it's like visually that was awesome. Like that was a cool way to kill somebody.
The one, I mean, this is a nitpick, but it always really bugs me when Ghostface uses the voice changer while he's out. Like the voice changer, I feel like should be on the phone and that's it, and then he doesn't talk when he's out killing people. Like that's it's one of my biggest gripes with the third one. Even though there's a lot of problems
in the first one.
No, he never talked.
There's a scene where Billy Loomis he pulls out.
But that's after that's to be like, look, it was me. I had a voice changer. Like that's fine.
What are you?
I'm talking about like Ghostface doing it because Ghostface needs to say a witty line.
Is there a scene where Ghostface is holding the thing?
In this? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In
I
fact,
don't
he
even
like
remember.
hits a button and like makes an like he's got it like mounted on his neck.
Oh, see, I thought I noticed that. I thought that was cool. I don't know.
I don't know that to me that it wasn't as bad as Scream 3, where he just has the voice changer and is like
Oh, really?
making like, yeah, he's talking shit. Like,
Okay.
yeah, Scream 3 was rough.
Who's the killers in that one?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
Like, that's the only one I don't remember the killers. And yeah, I remember Scream 3 being real like, man, this one, like, you guys are really bleeding this dry.
I actually did like the girl who was the main, I guess the main girl, Billy Loomis's daughter. I liked her. I liked the concept of like when she kills the boyfriend at the end and she's standing again, that's kudos for the killing. The actual kill was
the stabbing.
She's like over him
like
and just
stabbing,
like,
yeah.
But you could see her, she played it really well. She was turning into a serial killer in that moment, which is why I asked my brother, do you think they initially wanted her to continue? Because I think you could do something new with Scream 6 with her. You'd have to, I don't know what it is, but you'd have to do something different. But the fact that she became a villain in that moment where she's killing her boyfriend, like you could take that and spin that into the next movie, but they won't. They're not that smart.
I don't think she's that strong of a main character.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I'm saying I liked I didn't mind her performance or her as an actor. She's not that strong to carry. She's not a Nev Campbell at all. But I like the concept of Loomis's illegitimate daughter being involved in the Scream franchise. I like that.
I mean, I want to say that was a point in one of the other movies that like might have been Scream 3, like somebody was having an affair
really
with Billy. I got maybe I should rewatch 3.
Wasn't it didn't it have something to do with Roseanne's sister?
That's 2. That she's Billy's mom. It was better than 3 because I remember it. Like I don't even remember 3 and 4. I really wanted to like 4, and I remember 4 being better than I thought it was going to be, but still being disappointed. This was, and you know what? It was coherent. I would see another movie from this director because the movie
directing wasn't
great.
Bad. Yeah,
the violence was good. Like when people got stabbed, it was like it was legit. Like
my entire problem is with the writing. 100%, I think, and the
the directing I think was like the tense. It was solid. The tension was there. Like the scene where even though I tell you what, like I mean, again, you get like 6 people getting killed in your tiny town, and it happens every 10 years. You're still having like teenagers are still having parties. Like get out of here with that.
That's shit. The writing, man. It's just it makes no sense whatsoever. Like, I'm looking at a picture of Jamie Kennedy right now, and he looks really fucked up. But did you know? I'm also looking at the rest of the cast.
He was just on a podcast I listened to the other day.
Doesn't he have his own podcast?
I'm sure he does. Everybody has a podcast.
We do.
It's called literally, when I was at Comic-Con this year, I was meeting people at the bar, like, "Oh, nice to meet you. What are you here for?" Well, I have a podcast. Oh, yeah, me too. And we like, okay, I'll listen to your podcast if you listen to my podcast.
I'm looking at the cast, and it says Hayden Panettiere was in this movie. Do you know who she is?
No, she wasn't. So I know what you're talking about. She's in the 4th one.
I remember that.
I think they filmed something but didn't put it in the movie. Really? But she's got when they remember the scene where Jack Quaid's like on the bed and he's like
Jack Quaid
researching
he's watching Stabbed.
Yeah, one of the recommended like thumbnails on YouTube was like an interview with Hayden Panettiere's character.
So you got to give her credit. Okay.
I mean, I think they probably use her face. Yeah.
Another thing I really loved in this movie was when they did show him watching Stabbed, any of the Stabbed movies, and and they showed Ghostface, and he's like got a shirtless hoodie, and he's like, "What's up?"
Well, that was the one that they were all bitching about. They were like, "This last one was garbage." They were like
that was a good comedy beat where they showed the Ghostface killer in the Stabbed movies as a ridiculous
and like
he's got
they
the
don't even get it
flamethrower,
yeah,
and he's like it was hilarious. That was good good comedy writing. That's all I got on this bullshit. That's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. You got anything else?
No, man, no. It was I might rewatch it just to see if I was too hard to Skeet Ulrich. No, I'm not gonna rewatch the movie.
Okay. If you do, you should watch it with commentary to see what their thought process was on some of it.
that would require them putting out a Blu-ray, and I don't think they're gonna do that.
You don't think they're gonna put a Blu-ray out of this?
They don't put Blu-rays out really anymore unless
Oh, like it just goes to streaming.
it
Weird.
just
I didn't
yeah,
realize
like,
that.
I mean, most movies don't have a physical
Really?
unless there's a demand for it.
That's news.
And even when there is, like with the Marvel movies, like they put those out, but
Yeah.
like there's almost no special features on them. They're usually just like you know what I mean? Because people are buying them just to put them on a shelf.
Weird. Yeah, I guess. Wow, that's sad. That's how out of the loop I am.
Yeah, but you know what? It's I mean, it sucks, but it's also it's opened up a market for like, I mean, like Jack Frost got a Blu-ray restoration with a shitload of because there's a demand for it. You know, I don't know if there ever will be for screen. I mean, I would watch the commentary on
demand. There's a demand for Jack Frost.
I mean, I like watching commentary on movies I don't like. And one of my favorite have you ever heard of the movie Elizabethtown?
Yeah, with Legolas.
Orlando Bloom.
Yeah,
it's a real piece of shit. But like going into it,
that's not a Cameron Crowe movie.
It is Cameron Crowe.
Oh my god!
Going in, Cameron Crowe was my favorite filmmaker. I was obsessed with him.
Love him.
Singles. I loved Cameron Crowe.
Singles,
Almost Famous. Fucking. I mean, he's great.
Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla Sky. I was all over Cameron Crowe going into
Say anything.
Yeah, say anything,
dude. Get out of here.
I mean, he killed it. He was on a streak. And then I went and saw Elizabethtown. And I remember a friend of mine that was when I was working at Best Buy, he had heard like the rumblings because it was at the Toronto Film Festival. He was like, I hear it's not good. I'm like, it's good. People are stupid. And I went and saw it. And I came out of it and I was like, I can't wait because Cameron Crowe loves commentary tracks. He like all of his movies, he does like some of them, he does 2 commentary tracks. Like he loves doing them. After I saw Elizabethtown, I'm like, I can't wait to see this commentary track because he obviously knows how to make a movie. So he knows this is bad. He has to. So I want an apology. Like I want to hear what happened here.
Okay.
And it didn't have one and still doesn't. And
it didn't have an apology.
It didn't have a commentary track. It didn't have barely any special features
because he knows.
He has to know. Well, tell you what, he did a movie a couple of years ago called Aloha.
Yeah.
That was like it was so bad it was barely a movie.
Yeah, he's done. Like that's what happens.
It was just like, what happened? How does someone that can make
go back and watch Singles? So good.
Yeah. Sidetrack. By the way, Batman and Robin. That one is
flawless.
That commentary track is literally apologizing. It's
really?
Schumacher being like, yeah, I know. Maybe that was too much.
Schumacher's awesome, man. I love that guy.
He's not apologizing in the movie, but he's like, listen, I get it.
Yeah. Let me just wrap this up by saying, if you're a Scream fan and you haven't seen this movie, you should watch it because David Arquette dies. Spoiler alert. And Neve Campbell looks great and Courtney Cox doesn't. So you should watch it for those reasons. Skeeter Ulrich is in it. So check it out. It's a pile of shit with good directing, cool ghost face, awesome kills. The movie sucks. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk about another movie. What movie? Killer Party, which is actually a way better party than the one in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a piss. You think I should leave that in when I said I'd take a piss, or should I take it out?
It's up to you. I mean, or you could edit in like the trailer for Killer Party if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Hey, folks, we're back. Normally, I think people like in their podcast when they say we're going to take a break, that's where a commercial is, and they're making money off of that break. But we just go and get snacks and take whizzes. So our main topic is Killer Party from 1986. And you know what I love, Kevin?
What's that?
I love movies that know what they are, whether they're good or bad. They know what they are, and they're not trying to be something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's probably that Scream movie's biggest problem is that it thought it was something it wasn't, and didn't know its place, you know. But this picture, Killer Party, is a
man. I like this movie a lot. I really liked it. Yeah,
I fucking really love this. I love this.
I knew. Yeah, so did I. I texted you.
You texted me. Let me read the text because it was weird. I didn't know if you were if you were texting like your sister. You meant to text her or somebody or your wife, and then you realized you texted me by accident. But you texted me and you said, "Holy shit, you're gonna love this movie." And then like 45 minutes went by, and he goes, "Actually, disregard the last text." So explain that.
I almost sent another one saying actually disregard that one too, but I did. I was like, fuck it, whatever.
That's what made me think you accidentally texted me because there's no context there, so I didn't know what you were talking
Yeah.
about.
So I sent the first one during the music video that
Yeah.
opens the movie. I was like, oh man, this is
Dude,
right
White,
up out
White
of the alley.
Sister, White Sister. That's
Yeah.
the name of the band.
I know they put the credits up like it's a real music video. That was the other man. This movie opens up with like I'm going in and I'm like the first. So it opens with this like church and then this like funeral and then this family and they're all leaving the church and then one I think the daughter goes back in, starts talking shit to the coffin and then like the coffin opens up and sucks her in and like she's stuck in the coffin and they put her in the crematorium and I'm like, this movie kicks ass. I'm in for this movie. This is cool. And everybody was overacting. It was great. Yeah. And it pans out and it's a couple in the drive-in watching a movie.
Watching
like,
this movie, totally.
Huh. All right. Well, you got me. That's some movies start off like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then they do it again.
Yeah.
Like this. So then this girl is like, I want to get snacks. And like they have a whole thing where nobody I could have sworn, by the way, this drive-in theater, pretty sure it's in Indiana, but it's not. I looked at the movie was shot in Canada.
Oh no. But oh yeah, that's right. I wrote that down.
This lobby looks exactly like a lobby I'd been in.
So she goes to get snacks in the
she goes to get snacks and then comes back and her boyfriend's gone and then he comes back and he's a vampire and then all of a sudden and I'm like and then this like
well they're like demons. They're kind of like demons.
Well, and then everybody in the theater turns into like these zombie demon, and it's like, and then a full-on music video starts. And this '80s band like just starts coming out and singing this like '80s song,
like and like hair band '80s,
a super hair band. They're doing the whole deal. They're like kicking and doing the you know, and it's like Thriller. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
But then it like ends. You get one of the main characters of this movie is watching this music video on TV. And I'm like, did you watch Mr. Show? Because that's what it reminded me of. Mr. Show, this is how they used to jump from sketch to sketch.
Yeah. It would zoom out. Like you'd zoom out of that universe.
Yeah, it would be like, oh, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One character would walk out of the current sketch and into the next one.
Right.
And then the new sketch would start. I'm like, is that what this is going to be? Is it going to be like 30 little horror movies?
Yeah,
that's what I was fully expecting. And then nope, just our movie starts now.
Yeah,
and it's by the way that takes up 9 minutes and 14 seconds.
I knew it. I wrote down like because I didn't know. I know you hate 80s music, specifically hair metal.
It has its place, and this is its place.
You also hate when the monsters come in only in the last 13 minutes.
I don't. No, I don't. That doesn't bother me as long as the movie going in is good.
But yeah, dude, that opening music video by White Sister and the song is called "You're No Fool." I paused it before I got any further, and I was like, "What is happening? I need this soundtrack." I posted on the Patreon the entire soundtrack and the score. So links to both are on the Patreon. Dude, it's just so awesome. It's so
it was driving me nuts in my research. So this was actually one of the ones where like there's not a ton of research out there. There's really not. There's not a ton of like little snippets about it. There's not any featurettes. There's no commentary track.
They made it and just kind of like walked away.
Not only do they walk away, I mean like almost everybody that's involved with this like never worked again or never like acted again.
Yeah.
Like it's but like
there's a few familiar faces.
But nobody brings up that scene, like the music video. Like you would think that like if they were talking about this on like an In Search of Darkness type thing, they'd be like, oh yeah, man. And then that's the one that starts off with the music video. But nothing like it reminds me of the Everybody Wants Some from Better Off Dead.
Oh yeah.
That we're in the middle of the movie, we just have a music video like with claymation hamburgers.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, at least that one like kind of makes sense. But this was a weird way to start your movie.
It was, but it was like 1986. So like for them to know that whoever, I don't know if it was a director or writer or whoever, was a cool person. Like they were cool. Like they knew what
they were friends with this band.
Dude, just the fact that they did the super meta, talk about meta. We just spent an hour talking about meta. Like the opening to this is like meta, and then breaking all these walls, and then on top of it they put in this cool video like with this hairband, and it was just it's whoever did this movie is awesome.
You don't think that was to pad the runtime a little bit, maybe?
I don't think so. I really think it was a creative
the movie
choice.
is exactly 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, without this, it's 79 minutes.
I mean, what did we just watch? That was like I think the last two movies we watched were under an hour and a half. So because I noticed that I've started checking the run times. I didn't used to do that, and we've watched a lot of movies that are an hour and a half, but even with this one was an hour 34, I think. And you take out the end credits and it's under an hour and a half. So I think it was a creative choice to put that in. I think that
maybe
because it was so, I mean, they went all out. This
but
video,
it has nothing. It has nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
No, it doesn't, but it does. I mean, it's foreshadowing the demon possession, kind of.
I think that's a stretch. I feel like that's like if they played Sabotage before The Departed, and it's like, well, they're cops. It kind of has something to do with it. You'd be like, that's a weird choice to play.
Everybody gets sabotaged.
Beastie Boys music video before this Martin Scorsese movie. Be like, well, I get
it. Spoilers for Departed. Yeah, I think it was creative because it was too elaborate and too cool, too spot on.
I mean, it was obviously planned because like that. I mean, a lot of the I'd say most of the special effects were in that.
Oh,
we're in that. I mean, there were tons of them, man. There was
100%.
And the makeup and the special effects, they're way better in that music video, than in the movie.
Yeah, I think that was intentional. In the movie though, when they start using special effects, it's more realistic, and it's not so over the top, which I think was also intentional in regard to the opening. But yeah, let me run through real quick. As far as the cast goes, there's nobody in it that did much of anything, except there's the Richie. Is it Richie, the friend, the nerdy friend?
Martin.
So that guy's a familiar face. He's
in Ghoulies.
Oh yeah, nice. He's in Ghoulies. He's one of the two potheads, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think awesome. He's in the credits as Toad Boy. He's one of the
Yeah. Well, I totally recognized him. And then also the professor who has the beard.
That guy. That
is it Ralph Seymour or no? Ralph Seymour.
Paul. Fuck. What's his name?
Paul Bartel.
Yeah, Paul Bartel.
Bartel is another familiar face.
He did Eating Raoul. He wrote and directed and starred in Eating Raoul, and
right.
He's in other things. He died actually in 2001.
Oh, rest in peace. And thanks for your work. But yeah, those are really the only two familiar faces. I looked up a couple of the chicks to be like, the three chicks I thought were excellent. Like,
I did too. I thought everybody was really good.
Yeah, everybody was really good. But a lot of times you get some main characters that are like just sort of dead. Specifically, the one who gets possessed at the end.
Yeah, she was great,
dude. Because the majority of the movie, she's playing this sort of like ho hum. You don't even really notice her, and then at the end of the movie, dude, she fucking went all out.
She kills it. She kills it, man.
Out.
She was great.
Literally kills it.
I mean, and the kills were all pretty original and pretty. I mean, it's really not a shame. Like that. Like there's a lot. I mean, I think this movie is. I mean, it's really not well known at all. It's
too bad.
It made. I think supposedly it made $900 in its theatrical run.
$900 profit or total?
Total. Like it was
$900.
It opened in 5 theaters and made $900, but which is listed. But then it also says that it made $100,000.
$900, $100,000.
It also says it made 197,000 opening weekend. So who knows?
Who knows? Tomatoes.
But then it was immediately. So either way, it made less than $200,000. I mean, it didn't do well.
But what was the budget? You don't know.
I don't know what the budget was, and it was immediately sold. It to me, like this movie,
it's an MGM movie.
Technically, it is.
They had a couple other production companies.
Well, the company that made this, MGM bought their entire library, and this is actually the newest movie.
Oh.
When they acquired all these movies from this company, this was the newest one.
Okay,
I really dug it, man. It felt like, oh, there's a million movies like this, but
yeah,
like this isn't.
But
I
this
mean,
is
there's some great one, but like Night of the Demons, this was really similar, and like
that's the exact thought that I had. It was like, wow, this is going Night of the Demons. It didn't really go all that way, but Night of the Demons is a cool movie.
Yeah, Night of the Demons
Yeah.
kicks ass, and it's like that one's got a lot more character to that
Sure.
movie, and
And there's a lot
you
more
know,
special effects in Demons.
there's a
and
lot.
shit like
Yeah,
that.
there's a. It's got a lot more going for it,
Right.
And this one, I felt like it was just like it was super of its time.
Yeah.
You know, it was like let's make a goofy like frat house, like you know, comedy, and then
Right.
also like a slasher movie, but like you know, and it's not. It doesn't. You know, you probably couldn't. It was wild. Like it's so funny that these like frat movies were like a dime a dozen. You know.
Yeah.
But there was nothing in this that was like that sucks. You know,
Mhm.
like.
But that was my point at the beginning, was like it knows what it is. You know, it doesn't
Yeah.
try to be anything more than what it is. So they're really, when you do that, you can't really blow it because you're not trying to be anything else.
You
So
can though. Yeah, usually when you start taking yourself a little more serious, you know what I mean? Like when you start getting a little heady. Like I think that's maybe why like Jason Goes to Hell isn't great because they
Right.
tried to, but you know, bite off a little. Like, hey, let's make some, you know, yeah.
But
Let's
that's
make
a
some
sequel that
commentary about.
has like, yeah, that's a sequel that constantly struggles to reinvent itself with every next movie and then be better than the previous. This movie, like the only competition this movie had was the other frat horror movies.
The other,
that are
the
out
other
there.
1,000 movies like this,
But it didn't
was,
care. It didn't
Yeah,
care.
it was
about
fine. It was just like,
being
yeah,
better.
you know, I'm shocked this doesn't have more of a follow. I mean, maybe it's because there's, I don't know. I mean, besides the last like 15 minutes, I mean, it was fine. Like I liked everything in the movie, but that last 15 minutes really puts it over the top.
Oh, big time.
Like really, like I would have given it a solid B, and that really pushed it into like A territory, man.
Yeah. They,
You know?
they did do, when you get closer towards the end, you start to notice like little intentional things that were well thought out. Like the fact that, so throughout the whole movie, the movie is college campus, April Fool's weekend or something like that. And it's called like Hell Night is coming up, Pledge Night. It's all Pledge Weekend is going on. And these three chicks, the main chicks, are pledging this goat, what I don't know what fraternity or sorority is.
Yeah.
And so they're doing that and they're going through all the hazing and all that shit. And the party that they're having to celebrate this is going to be in this haunted house where apparently a fraternity pledge 20 years prior died during the hazing, and he's buried like behind this house, and the house is abandoned. So obvious stuff. The house is haunted. He's looking to possess somebody, but throughout the whole thing, people are being murdered, and they're being murdered by someone that the victim recognizes. Like everyone that gets murdered, like the old woman at the beginning, she turns and she goes, "What are you doing here?" And Paul Bartel is like, "Oh, it's you," and stuff like that is clever. I don't know who they're seeing. Do we know?
Yeah,
that?
So I watched this twice, and the second time I knew who the killer was, and
Who
it
are they
doesn't make it.
seeing that they know?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't.
Okay.
That's the thing. Like, there's scenes. So, I mean, yeah, obviously, you're listening to this. You saw the movie. The killer is one of the main three girls, and she's getting possessed by this like ghost or whatever, and killing people. But there's scenes where she's in the scene, she leaves and like is with two other characters. They show like a first person perspective of the killer killing somebody, and then they go back and she's still with the other characters. So like it doesn't line up. It doesn't hold up to analysis,
But that's
because
what
it doesn't make any sense. And there's
don't
other
think-
things that they do. Like they have these really shitty sneakers on the
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah,
seemingly
with
on the
brown
killer.
pants, right?
Yeah.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, but they bail on it. Like
Yeah.
that's like because seemingly those are just Martin's sneakers. Because then like you see like she drops a notebook and you keep seeing these sneakers following them around. It's like, oh, okay, that's who the killer is. And then they drop a notebook and you see the sneakers come and pick it up. But in the next scene, Martin's just giving her, "Hey, I found your notebook."
Yeah, I think
It's like-
that's a red herring.
Yeah, it is, but it's like a thing
He's
they
just
do
following
for
her
half the movie.
Sure.
And it's just,
So I think that I don't think she's killing people throughout the movie. Like you said, it doesn't line up. Nice mug, Kevin's got a Gremlins mug. You're saying I think that the demon is possessing different people who are familiar to the victim
I thought
until
that
the
too.
end. Until the end, because she doesn't get possessed until the very first hazing with the goat eyes, where they eat the goat eye, and that's the first time we see her like
Yeah, she
her
like
head
does
goes
like
back
a
and her eyes go
wow.
wacky.
Yeah.
So I think that the demon is, because we see the demon possess at the end, possesses her and her friend after she dies.
Yeah.
So I think it's possessing whoever comes near the house.
I mean,
then,
that's totally acceptable
I don't know.
headcanon, but they don't establish that
No, they
at
don't.
all.
Because then when we see the killer and it's not the girl at the party, it's the diver suit killer.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
That's another thing. Yeah, this movie's gonna start sucking if we start analyzing.
No,
because,
it doesn't suck.
No, it's not gonna
need to
suck. But it's just like it's not gonna make less sense. So was she walking around in that diver suit?
No, that's why I'm saying. I think that the diver suit.
Do you think he was just a person at the party?
No, I don't think there was a person in it at all.
It was a ghost in the diver suit.
I think the diver suit.
That diver suit.
I think it animated the diver suit.
That diver suit. Oh my god, it cracked me up because it was just like everybody else at this party. So like the idea is like, oh well, he's walking around in a diver suit and it's a masquerade party, so no one's gonna look twice at this diver suit,
right?
But like the thing is, it's like a frat Halloween party, so there's people like, oh, I'm a clown, but they're like, they're wearing a wig and
right.
like a rainbow tie,
like a half-assed costume.
Yeah, it's a bunch of half-assed costumes, and then there's this 7-foot all metal like
old
deep
school
sea diver.
Deep sea diver.
Yeah, like I don't know if you've ever seen the Cuba Gooding movie.
De Niro
what's the name
movie,
of that?
I think
Okay, with De Niro. What's the name of that movie?
It's called One Good Nothing.
And it's a really good movie.
Is it?
It is. It's really good. It's really, really good.
All right.
Anyway, but the whole
because that's when everybody was all hyped about Cuba Gooding Jr. from Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
And then he did As Good as It Gets. And then
he's not as good as it gets.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Yeah. He was awesome in it.
Yeah, dude. Sure?
Yes. Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Yeah, I don't think he's in it as good as it gets.
Yeah, dude.
Who is he playing?
That was like he's I think he's Greg Kinnear's boyfriend.
Oh, he's his boyfriend. Yeah, you're right.
So it was 2 movies in a row that he was awesome in, and then he did that. And I was
he is in that. You're right.
Get out of here.
He makes Jack Nicholson take the dog. That's right.
Anyway, the diver suit that you hated.
No, I didn't hate it. It was just like it was so fun. Like that movie we were talking about with De Niro. The entire plot of the movie is how hard it is to walk in one of those suits, and the climax of the movie of that other movie is like, oh, I can walk in the suit.
Yeah.
And they're like, and to be fair, it's not a real diver suit, but it looks like one. I mean, it would be like if you
the helmet is real. I think the helmet is real, but the rest of it is just whatever.
It would be like if you had a fucking it would be like if you had a Halloween party, like a regular ass Halloween party that people from the neighborhood come, and then someone showed up in a giant like Great diver America suit. Mickey Mouse costume, and it was
okay,
dude, what? But no one looks twice at this thing.
Yeah.
It's so out of place and he's got a real trident. He's got a giant real trident.
So that's why I loved it though, is because it's a slasher movie. It's also a supernatural possession movie at the end. But I was looking for a slasher. I wanted there to be a slasher.
I didn't hate. I love the diver suit.
So when he shows, because before this, the only sign of the killer that we had seen was nothing. It was people going, "Oh, it's you," and then they die. So I was like, all right, what's the killer gonna actually look like? And when we first saw the diver suit and he killed someone, I was thinking that would be a one-off. But then I wrote down, it was like, my notes are like diver suits, and then he stabs someone. Diver suit, he kills someone with a hammer. Diver suit, and then he chops someone with a knife. He pulls out a knife like a machete. Diver suit, he spears them. So I was like, okay, cool. Here's a new slasher. It's like the diver.
Oh, you thought it was
slasher.
a second guy?
No, I'm saying. I didn't think they would reuse the diver suit.
Yeah.
But they did, and that was cool. So like, I don't know why the imagery, like you've got Freddy, you've got Jason, you've got the driller killer from Slumber Party Massacre, you've got these like cool 80s slashers. I'm surprised the diver suit isn't like.
I think because there's nothing that distinguishes it from. Like there's nothing that distinguishes it from any other diver suit. You know what I mean?
but there's also no other movie where the slasher is wearing a diver suit. Is my
Well,
point.
sure, but like I mean, if I had a little action figure of this guy on my mantle,
Yeah.
everybody would just that's a
I'm gonna
little
make
diver.
I'm gonna make a custom diver suit slasher from Killer Party, and you're gonna fucking flip your lid.
Sure, but I don't think anybody's gonna be like, that's the diver from Killer Party.
I'm gonna
be like,
promote the shit out of it, and then the whole horror community is gonna be like, why aren't we going crazy over Killer Party's diver slasher? I'm telling you. Anyway, we took a break because if that sounds weird, because Kevin's son Raul like freaked out. There was like a diver in his bathtub or something. Or my cousin took a shit in it. I don't know which one it was. So if I repeat myself, so the diver suit, it's a good underappreciated slasher that I feel like should be talked about more.
You know what? Yeah.
The diver demon. I'm writing that down. Right. Fucking A.
You know what I dug about it is that like, so he kills someone with a trident, which is cool.
Yeah. It was a cool
But then he kills like 5 people.
Yeah.
But in different ways. Like he pulls a machete out. He's got a machete like sleeve on his leg. He pulls a machete out. I think he
used the hammer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the funniest one. That was the one that really made me laugh my ass. There were 2 like laugh out loud ones. One like the chick's on the stairs and he's creep behind her. First of all, it's a giant diver suit,
right?
And like he looks like one of the things at the fish tank at the dentist. You know?
Yeah,
I mean?
totally.
Like, yeah. But he like goes and reaches in his pocket and just pulls out a
hammer,
regular hammer.
Diver with a hammer.
Yeah, and he just bashes her head in, and then and then a machete. Like I said, they you could tell they were like, there wasn't, not that there wasn't a lot of thought to put to it, but it was just like, he's got a machete. Like, it wasn't like, no, they weren't trying to make the next slasher. You know what I mean? They weren't trying to make Freddy Krueger.
That's true. They weren't trying to do that, but I'm surprised that it just didn't catch in the sort of cult.
I think if there was anything that was distinguishable about it, besides that maybe with a machine. You know what? I take that back. If you it made a toy of a deep sea diver holding a machete, I would be like, yeah, that's the one from, or like with that, maybe the trident.
The trident, though, that works because I'll tell you what, for me, I don't know if you remember this, but for me, that diver suit goes back to Fisher Price Adventure People in like the late 70s. So I was born in like 76. So I had Adventure People all over the place. And one of my favorites was that diver suit. He didn't come with a spear, a trident, or a machete. So like,
well, I didn't think
that would be fucked up.
I didn't think a trident was like, I get it's like an underwater weapon.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have associated with a diver.
Exactly. That's why it's a cool slasher thing. Does he kill someone with it? I know she has it at the end. Who does he kill with it?
He kills one of the chicks, I think, with it.
Oh, okay.
And you know what's funny is one of the strongest parts of the movie. So like in researching it, apparently like there was a lot more like gore and a lot more like violence. And when they went to get it rated, the MPAA like ripped it, like chopped it up and was like, you can't have this, can't have that. So they do a lot in the editing, which is why you don't see a lot of that stuff. But like one of the things that they wound up having to do, I don't know if it's because the MPAA, but they threw it like it was whatever it was, the studio, they made him change it to when he does start killing people, he starts knocking them off like one after another. Like like once, I think like 5 people die with over like 2 minutes, but it's all these like really cool, and they're all different and it's fun and whatever. And I thought that worked really well. I was surprised that was a studio note.
Yeah, that is weird. They do kind of, like you said at the beginning, how we get the movie within the movie kind of thing, the trick, I guess, tricking the audience, because at the end of that
they say gotcha,
at the end of the music video. But then throughout this whole movie, man, the sorority girls and the fraternity guys are playing pranks on each other throughout the whole movie. So there were so many times where I was like, the pledge or the very first hazing with the 3 chicks, and the nerdy chick set up this elaborate thing. I thought that was so awesome because I was like, yes, like I'm not a fan of the Greek thing in colleges.
I hate it. I can't
stand it, which is weird because you're a total frat boy. You're a total frat boy. You're a total bro. But like they
Yeah, but I man, nothing like when I saw this was about frats, I was like, oh, I gotta hate
every
frats.
movie in the 80s was.
Yeah, I
But
hate frats.
when she got it over on them, on the sorority chicks,
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome. And then they did it again at the party at the end when like the girl gets pulled into
Yeah,
the thing,
but
and then the dudes did it too with the
yeah,
fight,
yeah, where they get stabbed.
So
I
I'm
mean,
constantly going
was
like, is this real or is this a trick?
Yeah. Although I gotta say, I mean, yeah, again, like whatever it is, what it is. But like the pranks that they're able to pull off, especially like glasses.
Wait, is that what you call that chick?
Yeah. The chick with the glasses. I have them listed as like, I mean, I have their names here. It's Vivia, but yeah, like it's blonde, brunette, and glasses.
Right.
But glasses does the fucking. These are some like Tom Savini level like pranks.
Yeah.
Like there's balls exploding. There's like there's pulley systems. There's this guillotine where her head talks and then it chops her head off. Like it's all this stuff where it's like, I don't know, but like how the fuck did she get any of this stuff rigged up like that? Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Is there a practical way to do the head thing with the guillotine?
No, not the way they do it.
Yeah, it's literally her.
Yeah,
and when the thing comes down,
they do a shot where she's in the guillotine, she's talking, and then the next shot it drops down, chops her off. That was the biggest laugh for me in the movie was when that happened because I thought it really happened. I didn't know it was a prank.
Yeah,
I thought it was just a shitty special effect, and then she pulls out the fake head.
Right.
I was like, that's great.
That's the genius of the movie is that we thought that she was dead, but then she was playing a trick on not only the other characters but the audience. Like it's almost like, I know we didn't do this intentionally. Okay. But the fact that we're talking about Five Cream and Killer Party, they're pretty much mirror images of each other, except one isn't that weird, dude? How did that work out? That wasn't intentional. Like,
I mean,
one knows what it is, knows its place. The other one doesn't. Man, we nailed it again.
But what's funny is like Scream wasn't.
We nailed it again, dude.
The thing is, Scream was elevated like horror. You know what I mean? Like the original was like it's a horror movie, and it's like,
don't call it elevated horror like they did in the movie, dude.
You know what I mean? Like
that made me barf when she started saying that.
Oh yeah, when they started talking about Hereditary,
elevated horror. Shut up.
But like it was like, hey, it's not just a slasher movie. Like there's more to it.
Yeah.
Like this, whereas now Scream's devolved into like, dude, you've made the same movie 5 fucking times,
right?
This, imagine how annoying this movie would be if it was just like, like if they just kept talking about frat movies, and like that, you're gonna do this because you're the frat guy, it would be annoying. It'd be awful.
If that's what this was, though, in 1986, it would have been like. The first to do it, it wouldn't have been as annoying. But the fact that they did what they did and they weren't precious about it. They weren't saying, hey, look what we're doing. It's clever. Like this movie just works,
Yeah. You know what I was just thinking too is like, so this movie is like, it's like a ton of other movies. You know what I mean? It's like Porky's. It's like, it really made me think like this is pretty well done. Why what? I mean, probably the distribution, who knows, but like why wasn't this successful? Like what takes Porky's over the edge to make it a fucking box office like success, and then this makes 200 grand.
I think a lot of it is just the times, man. The 80s were inundated by stuff like this. The fact that it was a Canadian movie and didn't have the backing of, major American, whatever, who knows, maybe that had something to do with it. But, 86, by this point, you had slasher mania.
Well, they literally had to change the title because it was originally called The April Fools.
Okay.
And then, but right before it came out, they changed it to Fool's Night. Like, I mean,
Fool's Night.
Yeah. But it was even that during some of the marketing. But then they were like, there was also April Fool's Day.
Called April Fool's Day.
Yeah. And it came out in 86. And they were like, yeah.
Really? That came out in 86?
Yeah. So that's why they changed the name.
That's
'Cause it was,
weird.
like, there's another movie about a slasher on April Fool's Day, so maybe.
That's like when we did The Howling and we were talking about London and they came out in the same year and we didn't even
Yeah.
realize it. Dude.
But like it makes sense with this because like
I
you,
like
like you
the name
said,
Killer
they
Party.
were putting out like
Yeah.
a dime a dozen these movies
Yeah.
were coming out.
Sure.
You know,
And also this movie, it's not a slasher movie, even though it is. And like they didn't try to say it definitely is a slasher movie in its marketing. They also didn't try to say that it was a possession demon movie, so it's like it's just, hey, it's called what, for whatever reason they settled on Killer Party as the name. That's what it's about. It's about a killer party and there's killing going on, and it's like, who the fuck cares who's doing it or why? Just know that there's going to be a party and people are going to die. And it's like, cool, I'm down.
I didn't love or hate the title. In fact, I thought I didn't like the title, and then went to saw the movie. I liked it a little more, but I mean, how many movies have we done that you could call that killer? Where there's
Sure.
a party and people,
Absolutely, but they weren't called Killer Party. They were called Zombie High.
or what was the other one? I mean, this blows Zombie High away.
Oh, but dude, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry to bring it back to the music video, but it is going to bring something up that I had to watch because I watched it twice.
Yeah.
There's a thing that happens in the music video where I was like, what is that? And I think I can see the direction in my head. So like the boyfriend is there, like, so the band is like performing, and then like the girl who's the main whatever is there, and she's like acting all scared, like she's like miming scared, and the boyfriend is there and he's doing the driving mime.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, what is, I get to see the direction, like, okay, like where he's like, what do you want me to do? why am I here? Like, I don't know, man. I guess just do this because you were driving before. Because it makes no sense. It's so stupid. It's like he's doing like an NSYNC dance and I'm sorry, but it threw me right off. I was like, what is that?
That's awesome.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to. Yeah.
No, it's okay. We might as well get to the highlight of it. The last 15 minutes or so. I mean, the whole movie was great, but that last 15 minutes when it just like turns into like Evil Dead, it's just like,
yeah. I mean, and what was cool was it was all her performance. It was all was a pair of contacts. They messed her hair up.
Yep.
And then
she
her
went
performance, and they changed her voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even love that, dude, because a lot of movies will do that demon voice overdubbing, whatever. They rocked that shit.
They killed it. They did it better.
It didn't feel like it was detached from
what
her.
One did we just
like
watch where they did it pretty well? It was 976 Evil.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was fine in that, but this is way better.
Oh yeah.
Like it works.
All those little things, those little tropes that we see throughout horror, especially in 80s horror. This movie does it better, even though it's not a better movie than some of those. It's still a good movie, but it does a lot of those things better than those movies do. And it baffles me that it doesn't get the credit.
I wonder if she had to make that face in like the audition, like the first time she like, you see like, what the fuck was that? Like when the demon comes and she does that, like,
yeah,
like she full on like,
oh yeah, it
stretches her neck, she crosses her eyes.
She's in the basement and she's like turned away.
Yeah.
And somebody else is down there with her. And it's almost like she just has like a stroke for a second.
Yeah.
And she just like turns back and she's all fucked up and her eyes are weird. I was like, what the, like, it was,
I mean, she looks like a cartoon with her teeth.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And her
it's
eye,
awesome.
her eyes sold it. She was, and the fact that she played such a demure sort of meek, like character in the beginning of the movie, and then all of a sudden turned into it. It's almost like she was downplaying her acting skills. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And she, man, I mean, we talk about like fucking, iconic, like, you want to make toys or so, like that's the toy. Like if I saw a toy of like her all demoned out like that,
yeah,
I'd buy that over the diver would be cool.
Yeah.
But that was, I mean,
when she at the end,
when she's sitting on the house at the end,
oh, dude, forget about it.
All the poses, like
yeah.
she was getting
her physical acting was,
she was crawling up the walls,
yeah,
and she had the fake tongue.
Crawling
there was
up
a
the
shot
wall
where I
was
was like,
bananas.
how did they do that? Well,
Yeah.
when she crawled up the wall, it was like, okay, well, I know how they did that. But then she crawled on the
On the ceiling. That's
and their
what it
hair was hanging. I was like, what is that? Like,
so she's on the ceiling. Her hair is hanging. She's upside down on the ceiling, and she's kind of in the corner of the ceiling of the wall and the wall, and her hair is being pulled by gravity down.
yeah.
But the lamp behind her, which was swinging early, like in just a second ago, is perfect, like how it should be. You know, I was just like, man, that is some attention to detail.
But it's only for that shot's only like maybe a second.
But it's,
You know what I mean?
It's a money shot.
super,
It sells
it's a
it, like,
super
so
quick
good.
shot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was like, whoa, like, how did they do that? And
Yeah.
I'm still like, because I'm thinking, I'm like, how'd they get the effect with her hair? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Lots of hairspray,
But
80s, man.
that's exactly what I thought they did. I bet I was like,
80s.
I bet they put a lot of hairspray in, and because the shot's only half a second.
Yeah.
Like, but
It was
who
awesome.
knows?
And her
But-
crawling up the wall like was freaky as fuck.
I wish that's my one. I wish we would have seen her kill more people.
Like that. Like
yeah,
that.
because
Yeah.
they kill everybody. They kill the whole frat house, and then it's like revealed, like, oh, and it's me, and it's like, man, I would have loved to see her just fucking murdering everybody. That would have
Right.
been great.
I
You
love
know?
when she shows up, the other two girls who also were great in this throughout the whole movie, but especially in this last scene. And she's just standing there with the pitchfork or with the spear
Yeah.
or whatever. And she goes, she slams it down, like she goes, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of like all the doors shut. That
Yeah.
was an awesome scene. That was
Well, then
that
she
was cool.
throws it, and then she starts like doing shit with her hands, and
Yeah.
the stairs start falling apart. I mean, it was awesome. And then what did she say? I wish I would have written it down. It was the best. When she goes, I've been waiting. She says she
Oh.
calls them assholes.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I got it right here. She says, she it's when she goes full demon. She goes, April Fool, assholes.
No, doesn't she say I've been waiting to like kill you assholes?
That's when she says assholes, but then she follows it up with like, I've been waiting like decades for this or something like that. But yeah, I noticed because she says,
I think she says assholes a couple times.
maybe she does, but she specifically says, she says April Fool assholes instead of April Fools assholes. And I was like, it worked. It sounded better. It was like, I've never heard anybody, it was a little thing,
Yeah.
but it sounded so awesome.
Just
and it
the way
was
she said
in that
assholes, it
voice.
reminded me of Freaked for some. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
she looked like
Yeah.
kind of like how Brooke Shields looks at the end of the movie, just like
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
full on like.
Jacked
But
up.
yeah, she was the
was
best
great.
part of the movie by far, man.
She was great.
And she's the one. I think this is just about everybody. Either Glasses went in and basically auditioned to be an extra. Yeah, like she had like 2 lines originally, and then when she came back, they were like, "Yeah, we beefed up that part," and now she was just in the movie.
Yeah.
And then she never acted again after that. Like,
Really? Did she
I mean-
act? Did you know? Did she act before?
she had like 2 little roles. Like she was. I think it sounds like she just lived in town and auditioned just for kicks and
Yeah.
got the part. And then, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't know. And then Jennifer, who's the blonde, the awesome
The demon.
chick. Yeah, she works as like a writer on like TV shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like she's still like in the industry. And then
What about
Yeah,
the
the
third one, the brunette?
she retired. The last movie she did was in '89. She did like 2 more movies after this when she was done.
Wow. Well,
And-
I mean, I guess that's
The
just
sorority
how it
chick
goes.
she's a voice actress. She's in a shitload of stuff.
really
Yeah.
the main sorority chick. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's weird because they focus in on their 3 performances in this movie. It's almost like it totally fits the movie, but they're like just sort of a step above everything in their.
I mean,
in their skill.
everybody plays their part really. Even the
Yeah.
sorority chick, like she has like a Nurse Ratchet vibe to her. She's just a fucking bitch. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? She plays it really well. You know, I thought everybody was good. Even like the guy, all the
dude
guys
was great. The
Which one, Martin or the main guy?
The main guy who was the sorority chick's boyfriend.
Yeah, with the 5 o'clock shadow.
No, that's the creature guy who drowns in the bathtub.
Yeah.
No, he was fine. And
Oh, the blonde guy,
the other dude, the main,
the guy that dies in
clean
the
cut.
guillotine.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody was good. I mean,
That was a cool shot when you see the dude in the bathtub and it's actually him. It's the actor.
yeah. Yeah.
just holding his breath underwater, but sideways. It looked cool the way they framed that shot up. It's like something I don't know, rarely seen or never seen before.
How'd you feel about like okay, that's the other thing. Like the pranks in this movie, not even the pranks, but like the frat guy stuff.
The bee prank.
Yeah, the bee prank. So like obviously you do that now. That's like sexual assault.
Oh, dude,
like,
you're done for life. You're done.
Yeah. But
I thought about that. I was like, man, the things that are going on in this movie are like.
I mean, was that what was going on in college? Like, was it? And that's the other thing was it was just so like, oh, you guys shucks, and then the next thing they're all friends. Like,
no, man. I mean, like, look at every movie. Revenge of the Nerds, Animal House, like they all have this stuff in it.
Yeah, but in Revenge of the Nerds,
Police Academy, even, which is,
but like, okay, Revenge of the Nerds, it's the alpha betas aren't doing that to the oh god, what's the girls? I forget the pies. They're not doing it to the pie. Like they're doing like they're you know what I mean? I don't know. It was anyway. God, I love Revenge of the Nerds.
I know it's great. Regardless, this content or however you want to phrase it was all throughout the 80s, man. I mean, even in I just watched last night half of 16 Candles, and there's some stuff in there with like Long Duck Dong and a couple other characters, like with the Jake Ryan's girlfriend with Anthony Michael Hall at the end. And she's drunk and wasted, and like they zoom in on her, like her skirt's up, and then Jake and Anthony Michael Hall's like, what am I gonna do? And Jake Ryan's just like, go have fun. And it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like, I mean, like, and the thing is, like, you can't dwell on it because it ruins a lot of movies. I mean, Animal House.
Yeah.
I remember it was my grandmother's favorite scene is the angel and devil scene. But like,
sure,
if you think about what that scene is, it's like, holy shit, man.
That's, and not to get off on that, but on a tangent, but it's like you have to look at everything through the time that it was made, that with that perspective in mind. You don't have to like it or accept it, but if you don't, exactly. Everything is nothing. You don't like anything.
You're not gonna be able to enjoy anything.
Yeah, exactly. So with stuff like this, like the B scene, getting back to the B scene, it's like, and I feel like I had seen this clip before. Or maybe you know what it is? If you look up the trailer on YouTube, it's just this scene. That's where I'd seen it before. Really? Yeah. Whether that's somebody posting it and calling it the trailer or not, I don't know what. But so when I'm watching this in the movie and you see it in context, and then later on in the movie when they're all the heads of the Greek system are in the library at the meeting, and then as a prank they put this clip on, and everybody's like, oh, they're all appalled except that old woman's laughing her ass off.
That's another thing. The second time I was like, this scene has no point. Like there's no like they spend a whole bunch of time being like, oh, the Professor Zito got a promotion, and like he's taking it over from this person, and then he goes up and he makes a speech, and I'm like, the second time I watched this I was like, none of this has to do with anything. This is all just so they can. It's
just pranks. It's just like, I think it's just showing like
it really is. It's just
this
a series.
I mean, you asked like if this is really what goes on. Yeah, I think it was back in the day, but now obviously you can't. But also remember,
they're getting rid of a lot of frats. Like that seems to be a thing.
I mean, the age that we're living in now, with like from Me Too forward. But then pre-Me Too, remember there was like a few years where there was a big finally a backlash against hazing, just in general.
Oh yeah.
People were dying and all this stuff, and they were finally like getting a hold of that. So this, the 80s was all about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Not to go off on a tangent. One thing I really I like cracked myself up with was, so the first time they go into the house, they have to steal some shirts.
Yeah.
The three girls.
Yeah.
And they find Blake, but Blake is wearing like a sea monster mask.
Oh, right.
And he like jumps out. He goes, and he scares them. And then like, they're like, he pulls off his mask. He's like, it's just me. I'm just a guy, whatever. And they're like, okay. And then like, I don't know, 25 minutes later, there's another scene where they're in the house, and he does it again.
Yeah.
He's like, ah, like it's like, is this guy's move? Like, is this that guy's
The
thing?
sea monster move.
Like, is that like, does he go to bars like in a sea monster mask and just like, ah, I got you. Now you got to make out with me because that's what happens.
Yeah. Both times, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It works. It's like, yeah, it's not a sea monster. It's me.
Yeah. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that.
You get pepper spray doing that now.
I get pepper spray just walking down the street. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, that was great. And both of those scenes, it added to the misdirect of the demon chick's character. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, how'd you feel about the ending, like the very end with the
And
body
the
switch,
ambulance?
the body switch? Yeah.
Oh, I dug it. I really liked it, man. I really liked it that like she at one point she's like, oh yeah, he's gone. She's like, okay. And then nobody's not whatever. And they keep fighting. And then yeah, I like that. Yeah, she kills her. Like it had ball, like, yeah, let's really do this. And then it goes into the other girl. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the other girl did a really good job of like
Becoming the demon.
yeah, like it
Yeah.
felt like it was the same demon, you know?
Yeah. Right.
It was
Almost
really
like,
good.
yeah, almost like it was an actor in a weird way.
Yeah.
Just with a different costume on or something.
What'd you think of the B guys,
The nerds.
the nerds in the
Oh,
B
yeah,
costumes?
right. So those were the same bee dudes who let the bees loose in the prank, right?
Yeah, I didn't even
And then
make
they-
that connection.
And then they've dressed as bees as well.
Well, they were credited as B guy and
Okay.
B guy too in the
Really?
credit, but I didn't even make the connection that like they were dressed as bees and they were in charge of the bee prank.
And they got stung to death, quote unquote. Like
Is that what happened? Like,
Well, it was
very
a-
unclear what
it was a
actually
spear
happened to
gun.
those guys.
It was a spear gun. So the spear gun, they're sitting on the ground next to a like sewer grate.
They're sitting on like a grate in the house.
And you see the tip of the spear come up, and then it cuts away, and you hear this like a pulling the trigger of a spear gun sound.
Oh, see, I thought they jammed that up his ass. Like they stayed.
Yeah, that's what I
pulled it
thought
out.
at first too. But
Yeah.
you know, the trident wouldn't work; it would get caught on the.
But
It
then
was
the
a
other
spear gun.
guy, yeah, the nerdy guy is just like, "What's wrong, man? Are you gonna barf?" And then they cut away, and then
Right.
he's just dead.
No, I thought that was great. It was really cool. Like that was clever. Like that was dumb clever, but it worked. You know, to have the bee
Yeah.
motif going through the movie with these two guys.
I mean, I really liked that. Like, I mean, these. I'm sure there were a million of these like Animal House ripoffs around
Yeah.
this time. You know, these straight to VHS Animal House ripoffs. And I yeah, it's cool that like, oh well, let's do one of those, and then let's turn into a like slasher movie. You know, like I dug it. I really. This movie is way better than.
That it
You
gets
know,
credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people just haven't heard of it. And
Yeah.
like there is I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Arrow or Shout Factory, but one of them has a Blu-ray that's hard to get, but it doesn't have a lot of bonus stuff on it.
Really,
Yeah, I was gonna down and I was like,
That's
it's
too bad.
almost not worth it.
when you get
That's
these
the-
movies that just
Go
like
ahead,
fall
yeah.
through the cracks, you know. But the other
That-
side of it is like if you took a poll of like the people that they interview on in search of darkness or anything like that, any of those documentaries, and you showed them this VHS cover, I guarantee 90% of them would remember it.
Oh yeah,
Maybe,
sure.
maybe they haven't seen it, but they'd be like, "Oh, dude, yeah, that," because it's pretty awesome and iconic. And
I mean, getting
Those
to what you
circles.
said about like a lot of people would come out the Jack Frost DVD, the movie we did last week.
Right.
That's all the special features are like, yeah, I'll do an interview. Sure.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's, you know, it's all like the director and the guy that plays Jack Frost. You very much get that vibe. Like,
well, but
yeah,
that,
you just call me out of the blue. Sure.
Sure.
I'll come out.
but
you
that
know?
movie's dog shit. So like
But that one has a much higher,
a bigger
cult
following. Sure.
way bigger following.
Yeah. Because that VHS cover
Because the cover
tricked
yeah.
people. This VHS cover kind of fits. I mean, it's just like a I don't know what you call it,
Oh man.
a symbol. It's almost more symbolism. This VHS cover.
I might have to get this Blu-ray.
Is there something on it?
Well, I think you would enjoy it more.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's all interviews.
You talking about White Sister? Is there White Sister stuff on there?
Yeah, it says this is one of the, it says
White Sister and Killer Party, an interview with White Sister members. Yeah, they interview
No shit.
the band. They interview the production designer, the special effects and makeup artist,
That's cool.
the composer,
Yeah.
the writer,
John Beal.
Barney Cohen. Barney Cohen actually went on to do a lot. Barney Cohen wrote Friday the 13th 4.
Who's he in this?
He's the guy. He's the writer.
Oh, okay. Right on.
He I wrote down a bunch of shit he did some good stuff. And they interview two of the actors. I can't
William Fruitt is the director. I don't know.
Yeah, you would like this guy. He wrote a couple episodes of Thundercats. He wrote a couple episodes of He-Man.
What's his name again?
Barry Cohen. He wrote a couple episodes of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Sabrina Goes Down Under, which is a TV movie. He wrote the whole thing.
Did she go to Australia? Or is that a sexual
I assume I
thing?
didn't
Goes
see
Down
it,
Under?
but
what else, man? It's a good movie. Watch
good
it.
movie, man. Solid movie, solid like kills, solid everything, man. Like
Yeah. Really good score, really good soundtrack. The rest of the sound, I didn't talk about the rest of the soundtrack. The rest of the soundtrack is like super 80s. I think it's only like a handful of songs. It's an EP. So it's not a full length album. And I posted it all on Patreon.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in that fucking hairband.
Yeah.
Like when I could have seen your reaction to like what?
Yeah,
Oh!
dude, I did. I reacted. I had a reaction. I was like, serious? This is awesome. I was like, yeah, thank you. Because like I'm just
that was the second I texted you. Like, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, because I'm just coming off of Peacemaker. Did you watch Peacemaker?
I didn't.
Dude, the opening, you haven't seen the opening?
I know nothing about it.
Dude,
No.
just tonight, you should go and just watch the opening credits.
Okay.
It's fucking it's a 80s hairband song,
Okay.
and it just sticks in your head. It's a great series. It's
Everybody's saying it's very good. I didn't. It's not even love the movie. I liked it.
has nothing
fine.
has nothing to do with the movie.
No.
No, watch the show. But yeah, they were White Sister. Like, I wonder if they have an album.
Let's see. I have Spotify right here. We'll look up White Sister. I mean, when else? What a weird name for a band.
I know. When I saw the name, when the MTV sort of credit came up,
I think it's like I like it. It's almost like a monkey. It sounds like a monkey type situation where it's like, oh, we just made up an 80s band. We call it White, like, 'cause it sounds like a mix of White Snake and Twisted Sister.
Totally,
Like,
that's what it is. It's absolutely
White
what it is.
Sister. What a weird.
It's absolutely what it is, dude. And it's so perfect for the 1986.
2 albums.
Okay.
No, they have 3. They have one called Until It Hurts, which is a single. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Until It Hurts is a single. Yeah, they have one self-titled album and one called Fashion by Passion.
Are the dates there for the album?
Yeah, it's 1986 and 1984.
Look at the 1986 one.
And then they also had a single come out in 1987.
Look at the 1986 one. Does it have the song, the Fool song? Is You're No Fool on there?
They have a song called April.
Oh,
which
that's
they-
it. That's it.
Yeah, but
Because it's called April semicolon You're No Fool.
no. In the movie, it says "You Are No Fool" is the name of the song.
I
But
know,
they
but
kept
when you-
they keep saying April.
I know, but I looked it up on YouTube, and if you look up the song on YouTube, it's April You're No Fool.
They've
That's
got the
awesome.
song.
Dude, I'm buying that album.
They have a
Or
song
I'll
called
listen it on
"Ticket to
Spotify for
Ride."
free.
I mean, it was a catchy song.
Yeah.
It reminds me. It's a good old Simpsons. It's an old Simpsons joke. It's one of the best, where he got Skinner gets fired, and he's in the Quickie Mart, and Bart says, "What are you gonna do now that you're fired?" And he's like, "I think I'm gonna work on my novel." And he goes, "Oh yeah, what's it about?" He's like, "Well, it's about this island where they clone dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs get loose." And he like lays out the whole thing, and he like explains the whole plot of Jurassic Park, and he's like, "I think I'm gonna call it Billy and the Clonosaurus."
That's
And then
awesome.
Apu just
Clonosaurus.
like overhears the whole situation, the whole conversation. It's a great scene. But Apu overhears the conversation and just chews Skinner the fuck out for being like, "How do you not know that this is already a thing?" Like, fuck off. Like,
That's
It's like,
awesome.
"Are you out of your mind?" It's so.
That's
It's a
awesome.
really good scene. But that's it. Yeah, you have a song called "Ticket to Ride." Maybe it's a cover. I don't know.
All right. Well, on that note, should we wrap up Killer Party?
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a kick-ass movie. This might be my
Kick-ass.
favorite one that we've done this season that I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
I'd have to look at all of them. I don't remember, but like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept being like, this is good. Like
It's just that, it's just that
like,
it came with no baggage and it came with no expectations and
well, it came with low expectations.
or
Like,
yeah, low expectations.
frankly, like I was like, well, I haven't heard of it. It may, and it, like we're going off a cover of a box.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting it to be rough.
Zombie High.
Yeah, I was expecting Zombie High,
Yeah.
and it was a pleasant surprise, man.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I can't wait to get this VHS or for you to get me this VHS.
I'll bet it's. Yeah, I wonder if it's around.
And not after
I might buy this Blu-ray now that I see the
Yeah, you should get it, dude.
the bonus stuff.
It looks awesome. All right, JKL.
I have L.
You got L? Are you prepared?
Oh yeah, I'm prepared.
What are you prepared?
Do you know what it is?
L? Wait,
Yeah,
do I? I'm sure I do. I can't think of it right now.
it's
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
okay. I don't know how. I'm very curious on.
I'm applauding.
Yeah, it's Little Shop of Horrors. Everybody, it's the
Great.
1986, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or 87. Is it 86 or 87?
It might be 87. It's 86.
Okay, cool.
But it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Cool.
I love it. My wife hates it.
Really? What did she?
Hate-
Well, let's leave it for next week.
Yeah,
Leave it,
we'll
leave
save
it, leave it.
I love it. Where are you at with this movie? Have you
I haven't
it in a
seen that
while?
movie since I was a kid, and I have nothing against it. I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Where are you at with musicals? Like,
I'm down. Like as long as it's like here, I'll say this. I love Moulin Rouge. I hate Australia, and they're from the same director. So figure that out. Yeah.
okay, I've never seen Australia. I hate Moulin Rouge as
Cool.
well. Is Australia a
no,
musical?
I said I love Moulin Rouge. I hate Australia.
Oh, but Australia's not a musical, right?
Yeah, it is.
It
Like,
is.
it's Jack Human and Nicole Kidman, and Jack Human is like, I'm in Australia and I'm an Australian, and shut the fuck up, dude, and stop playing Wolverine.
It's weird.
please.
I really like him, but I've never seen him I've seen him in a ton of musicals and never one that I liked. And it's never his fault.
I guess I'm done with him. I'm down with musicals. What's my favorite musical? I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I like them.
This one I think by default I went through a lot of different musical phases.
Oh, I
mean,
know
like,
what my favorite is. Sweeney
is it?
Todd,
The
The
Johnny
movie.
Depp version or like
the movie.
Really?
Yeah, Johnny Depp. I love that movie,
Nice. I've been meaning to rewatch that one actually.
dude. Alan Rickman.
Yeah, I should rewatch it.
Yeah. Movie's awesome.
But yeah, this one I think it's definitely been consistently like there's been musicals I've loved like
Yeah.
more than this, but like no longer like them as much.
Really?
This one this has been at a solid like 9.5 my entire life. Like this
Okay.
is just as good as the first time I saw it. It's a masterpiece. I fucking love this movie.
Who directed?
Frank Oz.
Oh, right on. Okay, well, that's why. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And I'm excited to dive into all the commentary. I've already watched it twice this week.
All right, cool, man. That's a great pick. I'm excited. Letter L next week for episode 45. Wow, is going to be Little Shop of Horrors, 1986. Who's the star of that? Rick Moranis? Yeah,
Rick Moranis.
but it's got
that
everybody.
was when I said he says it.
That's why you
I was
brought him up
watching-
earlier. That's why
He,
you brought him
he
up.
says
I see
picture
through
a
you.
lot. They all do. Frank Oz says it. David Geffen says it. They all in all the bonus features. They keep calling it a picture.
See, I figured you out, man. You always give yourself away in the end, and you explain yourself from the beginning. Like I get it now. If I just wait until the end, then I'll understand the beginning.
Yeah, man. This next one this is a movie I know a lot about,
Cool.
and I'm excited to talk about it.
Cool. I'm excited to watch it again. What else? I think that's it. That was a big show. If you listened, made it all the way through, I hope you enjoyed us being very negative about Five Cream and enjoying Killer Party. It's still blowing my mind how mirror they are, how like unintentionally we did that. I think we're just geniuses and more people should listen to the show. So with that said, if you want to find us on social media and talk with us and interact with us, we're on Twitter and Instagram at Death by Podcast. If you want to support the show directly, you can find us on Patreon. Join the Patreon community at patreon.com/Death by Podcast, where you'll find our second bonus mini podcast, BoobTube TV. We do a vintage-ish horror-related TV show. This week we did Frankenhole. Kevin found this show called
Whose idea do you think that was?
Frankenhole, which is weird, man. We've never done Frankenhooker on the show, and I really like that movie, and I know it's one of your favorites.
It is one of my favorites. I would love to do Frankenhooker
Next time around.
Yeah.
So anyway,
we should.
Frankenhole. It's a Adult Swim show. We talked about that on the Patreon, and we're going to do another Frankenhole next week. So that'll be fun. What else? We got stickers on the Patreon. We got all kinds of behind the scenes.
We got shirts.
On the Patreon.
We got all sorts
shirts.
of stuff.
Just go there, $1 a month, $2 a month, $100 a month, whatever you want. And you know what, folks? If you're enjoying the show, tell your friends about it. Just tell them. It doesn't cost you anything. Leave us a comment anywhere that you pod, and we are available anywhere you pod. Stitcher, Google, Spotify, iTunes, iButts, all that stuff. So find us there. I think that's it. I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Kevin.
I want to thank you, Kevin, for putting up with me tonight, because I look like a Frenchman with my scarf. You didn't.
I was wondering about the scarf.
You
Is it
didn't-
cold?
well, I'm freezing,
in your-
but you didn't comment on that, and I'm glad you didn't bring attention to it, because I feel self-conscious about it. It's Miller time. Kevin, you're up. Take it away. That's your cue, Kevin. Take it away. That was a solid one. Solid entry. Thanks for listening, folks. We will see you next week with Little Shop of Horrors, episode 45. Peace. Pieces. You're all chopped up.